me. Good morning, Daz. You're here for the party, huh? I wore my glasses. This is how I feel about Monday. Let me know if you can hear and see. So obviously I'm just joking. I just wore my glasses, but I watched back over my broadcast from Monday, and boy, I poured a little bit more rum in that cranberry juice than I realized. And I did have, I woke up with a headache, but I think it just exacerbated it a little bit. So no rum for me this morning. All is good. Yay. I'll take my glasses off. It was just for fun. I'm really not, I had that headache all day, but I don't think I was really hungover. How are you doing this morning, Daz? You should join in and we'll chit chat back and forth if it's just going to be the two of us. If I put the link up, you want to come on and say hello? We'll talk about my grandson's culinary experiences. I'll put it up here and then you can just decide. I think it's going to be a quiet morning. You know, I curled my hair and then I forgot to brush it out, so I just ran my fingers through it before I went on live. It actually turned out pretty good. This little part right here, that's it. That does that. Stutter. That does it right there. Hey, Rambling with the Broom, Scott, how are you doing? Oh, Daz, you have your hair in rollers. You're silly. Scott, I put the link up if anybody wants to come on. Caveat to that, please make sure there are no barking dogs or children. Not that children bark, but you know what I mean. Make sure that things are quiet before you come on. Good morning, Michael at the Green Acre. Good morning, Bland's Promise Land Ranch. I'm having trouble talking this morning. So Eric or Monica, I put the link up if anybody wants to come on. I think it's going to be a quiet morning. Before you guys popped on, I was like this. I was like this when Daz came on. Because that's how I felt after our live on Monday, when I realized I really did put a little bit too much coconut rum in my cranberry juice. And I had a headache all day long after that. Wicked Awesome Gardening, good morning. Good morning. So I got my coffee, and it doesn't have any Irish cream or anything in it. This is one of my favorite ones. If you guys have heard me make fun of my friend down in Tennessee, this is the coffee mug that I talk about when I have my morning coffee with her. Good morning, Luella. She's saying good morning from her class. Wow. And E3 Farmstead. I was going to talk about you today, E3 Farmstead. So yes, Daz is in the house. He was the first one here, and I was acting all hungover. But this is a weird, what do you call it? Segue. This is the cup that I use sometimes when I call my friend down in Tennessee, and she'll hold up a cup. I got her a cup for her birthday, and it's one of those cups that you see advertised like on Facebook or other social medias, where it's got like two friends sitting on the end of a dock, and it has your names and it talks about friendship forever. She's like, got my friendship mug. That's what I've got this morning. And I'll say, I've got my hands wrapped around a big red cock. And she gets all embarrassed. It's like, it's a rooster. Calm down. It's just a little farm terminology. Oh, goodness. Oh, Luella's got bottle wraps. Interesting. Luella is, she's a very hands-on healer. So one of the first things that I wanted to do this morning was I did want to give out a little bit of a mail call shout this morning, because we went to the mailbox on Saturday and it was kind of a light day at the mailbox. Remember last time it was packed full of coupons, which I've got a challenge coming up for those coupons. So you guys keep your eye out for that. But this is from Boots and Bounty. and they sent me a little letter, which I'll read here in a second. And, I've got one of their stickers, but look, I got a magnet from a Frigidator. Boots and Bounty. So that's Casey and Steven. I really love watching their show. If you haven't been over to Boots and Bounty, go check them out. Were you able to film in the post office this time? Yes, I was. So I got some great footage of all of the beautiful original architecture, and I'll be putting that together soon and putting that up. But look what Boots and Bounty sent me. They made me some, let me see if I can get it where there's not a glare. They made me some Comfrey Salve. And so isn't that lovely? Homemade Comfrey Salve. And I'm going to get together with Casey and figure out exactly what she wants me to use this for. I'm so happy that they didn't have to send that to me because they had a little giveaway and all I really got was the refrigerator magnet. But she was kind enough to send me that. And she says, Alicia, thank you so much for joining us, taking time out of your lovely day to share it with us. And I feel the same way about you guys. Thank you so much for taking time out of your morning to just get together and chat. Here's your gift that you won during our drawing for 700 subs. Can you believe they're up to 700 already? That's amazing. And I've included a little something extra for you as well because you're special to us. Enjoy. Oh, thanks, guys. I appreciate that. I don't know if she'll be able to come in today, but I will be getting in touch with her. So if this is Eric or Monica over at Bland's, what would I do with the Comfrey Salve? Tell us. What is it best used for? I'd love to know. Green Acre went to school for architecture drafting, so you dig it. Yeah, it's really, really pretty footage that I got. I hope it's not a lot, but it was enough that made me happy that I didn't, get hauled out by Homeland Security or anything for filming in there. And Luella is learning about body detoxing. So I'm going to take a cup of coffee, which I'm sure is not allowed in your body detox. Oh my goodness. How's everybody doing this morning? For those of you just coming in, if you want to hop on. Oh no, a truck. It's just a truck. That's Honey. She barks at every single truck. But what's funny is when she barks, her lips curl under and they get stuck on her teeth. And then she looks like a honey badger. She's so funny. Hey, Adam. Good morning. How are you? Crazy Ed's here. Hello, Crazy Ed. So I was just shouting up a little bit here about Boots and Bounty. I love going into their lives. Stephen and I just kind of have this thing about movie quotes, and it just drives Casey crazy. But I always have to throw a quote in there. Good morning, Lynette. Hey, Ormsby Farms, how are you doing? Oh, it was such a beautiful morning this morning. I got up this morning. I hope my husband doesn't hear this. I got up this morning when he went to work and everything was just covered in a low layer of fog all across all of the fields, had a low layer of fog. And I just kind of drank that in for a little bit and then I went back to bed. Oh, comfort on skin. Awesome. I'm going to try that. Yeah, Monday was fun. We had our pajama party on Monday, and I had my homemade cranberry sauce with some coconut rum. And I was telling Daz when we first came on here, I watched the beginning of that back because I thought I didn't have that much, but boy, I really did pour. I thought it was a shot. I should have had a shot glass for that, so I knew it was a shot, but I don't think it was a shot. And I don't imbibe often, especially after chemo, but this one kind of caught up with me. Comfort for topical wounds, bruises, stings, all that good stuff. Awesome. Okay, so I picked a peck of peppers. Look. One looked ugly. Where is it? Why is there an ugly one? It's on this side. Oh, turn it over. Don't see the ugliness. So look at all these little peppers. These are off of the rescued plant that we got on clearance. Well, there were 4 little rescue plants. They were in one of those little 4-packs, and I got it for like 60 cents. And so we planted them. And this is the one where the one day when I was making relish, I didn't have a red pepper, so I went out and got one of these little purple ones that turned red. And I don't want to know what you guys think there. That's not a sweet pepper, is it? What is that little thing? It was hotter than all get out. My fingers burnt for days, let me tell you. Look at these little things. I don't know what they are. So, but I've got these here, and I've got these beautiful purple ones. Look at that. Defect means organic. Yes, that means it's good. I mean, if the little buggies loved it enough, then we got to know it's good. But I don't know what kind they are because I think the tags were mixed on them. I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to take all of these and put them in my food processor and grate them up. And I think I'm going to make a pepper jelly. But I think you're supposed to use small sweet peppers for the pepper jelly because I've never made a pepper jelly. I've made cowboy candy. But I think I want to make a pepper jelly to serve over cream cheese and crackers. So give me an idea of what you think I've got here, if you know your pepper stuff. And then I'm going to see about making, I mean, these almost look like banana peppers, but that's what's not on the label. And now I don't even know what I've done with tags because I pulled them all out that one day when I had that terrible fit, when I got them all over my fingers and on my eyeball, and it was a mess. But I want to make peppers, pepper jelly. The purple peppers are beautiful. Good morning, Gail. Aren't those lovely? And the tag said that it was I don't know if it's a hybrid maybe. It said it was a purple sweet pepper, and this is what I was expecting. But on the same plant, on the exact same plant, are these. These are growing at the lower part of the plant. These are growing at the higher part of the plant. It's one plant. And these are hotter than all get out. I mean, they're so hot, I resorted to desperation, and I won't say what I did. But these are hot, and I haven't cut into one of these yet. So I want to know if I can make a sweet pepper jelly with sweet peppers and some spicy peppers, and then put it on top of sweet and hot pepper jelly. It's easy to make. I can mix the sweet and the hot together. Should be good over a cream cheese, huh? I use all the hot and leftover sweet to make the jelly. Ghost peppers have a shriveled look. I certainly hope it's not a ghost pepper. Oh, but man, when I cut it, what I did, if you weren't here for that live when I was talking about it, is I was making my relish, my pickle relish, my hot dog relish, and I needed a red pepper. And so I ran out there because I didn't have a regular red pepper. So I ran out and I grabbed a couple of those. And since I thought they were sweet peppers, all I did was cut the tops off, and I used 2 fingers and just kind of scooped all the membrane and the seeds out. And I didn't glove up because I thought it's just a little sweet pepper. And then I had company show up. And so I got presentable real quick, and I rubbed my eyes to rub the sleep out of my eyes because I wasn't even dressed. I just got up and started doing stuff in the kitchen. And as I'm talking to him, I'm doing this. It's like, what's wrong with my eye? And I took my finger and I was like rubbing my eye going, what's wrong with my eye? It's starting to burn. And I had to get up in the middle of my conversation, go get a cold rag and put on there. And it dawned on me it had to be the pepper. So I just barely bit my fingernail and my mouth was on fire. It was so hot. And then I had, over the course of the day, my skin started drying out and cracking. And those oils were in those cracks where it was drying just from the pepper. And I tried everything. I poured milk. I was washed with some Dawn to try to get the oil off. And I finally resorted, Daz is going to love this, but I finally resorted to just like peeing on my fingers, hoping it would help. Like when you see somebody who steps on a jellyfish, they say pee on it. It made it 10 times worse. Screaming, my hands on fire. Oh my God, it was awful. It was just from those little red peppers. They aren't ghost peppers. I'm growing a couple plants this year for homemade barbecue sauce and jerkies. Okay, well, they're not near any hot peppers. And here's the deal, Blance. I don't know what they are. They were on clearance down at the farm center. And I suspect somebody moved the tags around because they said they were these purple sweet peppers, and they came in one of those little 4-packs. So there's 4 pepper plants in one container away from the rest of the garden. It's on the deck. It's not even in the garden. So they're not near any hot peppers. And so This is what I got from a tag that says that they were purple sweet peppers. Look at this variety. Somebody messed with something. I don't know what happened, but I got this. Yeah, it didn't take me long, did it, Daz? The potty humor always tinkling. You gotta go. You gotta go. I was that desperate, though. I was that desperate. But my fingers were burning so bad. And Papa Jim was like, come on, it's not that bad. And it's like, yes, it is. I couldn't sleep. It was hurting me so bad. He does. Dad secretly loves these conversations. You know he does. Oh, Gail, I've got a whole bunch, but it just seems like life just picks me. Here, let's do this to you today. And then I roll with it, and then it gets me in more trouble. Oh, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So, Yogi's not in here, but I did have a story to share today because Yogi was getting some Lisa over at Yogi Hollow Farms. Do you like my cup? Were you in here earlier when I told you the story about my cup, Ormsby Farms, which I can't remember your name because I really have a difficult time with names, guys. It takes me a while. Pepper oil, much like poison ivy, is quite hard to remove. Think of trying to remove grease from your skin. It just keeps smearing around, and that's what it did. It smeared all over my eyelid, and it got down in those cracks in my skin. And I'll tell you one reason why. I think it dried out my skin, even though it was an oil, because I started getting these cracks. But in addition to that, I was using this hand to pick the cucumbers. And, the cucumbers have those tiny little spikes in them. And so I was getting those tiny little punctures. So, sometimes I don't put my garden gloves on. And, oh, that oil. But anyways, Ormsby Farms. I was sharing earlier that my friend from Tennessee calls and she tells me she's using her favorite coffee cup. And I always tell her, I say, oh, I've got my arms wrapped around a big red cock. And she gets all embarrassed. It's like, it's a chicken. It's a rooster. That's what it's called. Farm terminology. So every once in a while, I like to pull that one out. That sounded wrong, but so right. Hi, Andale. You're lurking. But you're listening. Oh my goodness, are you blushing over my coffee cup story too? Tell you. All right, Luella, thank you for joining me. We'll talk to you later. I hope you found the correct video the other day with your granddaughter's letter in there. Luella is the one who gifted us with some beautiful things for our garden, and I did take a nice little video of one of the things that she gifted us, and I still have to edit that. So, but so Lisa from Yogi Hollow Farm. She has recently purchased from fermentation kit. And I said, I'm not really, I know it would be good for me. I know it would be good for me. I'm really not into fermentation stuff. And she says, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. She goes, I want to make some sauerkraut. Let me give you guys a tip too. Something I've learned recently in one of my canning groups. Right? The little red ones look like little habaneros, huh? Don't you think? Little habaneros. Or isn't there a pepper called like a Scotch something? I don't know. I'm really not into peppers. I'm learning. See, this is all a learning experience that we share with each other in these channels. So, one thing that's where I was going with this. When you're posting on Facebook or possibly even some of the other social medias, I don't know about the other social medias, but I do know what's happening in Facebook. If you make sauerkraut or talk about sauerkraut or whatever you do with sauerkraut, you need to spell out the entire word sauerkraut. Because believe it or not, people are getting their posts flagged for talking about making kraut. Because kraut is now considered hate speech. So you have to spell out the entire word kraut. And I thought, you've got to be kidding. But so many people are popping up in my canning groups going, yeah, my post got removed. I got flagged by Facebook for hate speech because I said kraut. Make sure you spell the whole word kraut, sauerkraut. I'm still sleepy. So back to the sauerkraut. So she's going to make some sauerkraut. And I said, oh God, that reminds me of a story. So you guys know I've always got stories. So several years ago, gosh, probably close to 20 years ago, my mom had this aneurysm, a brain aneurysm that ruptured. And I needed to get back to see her and spend some time with her after she had gone home from the hospital. I wanted to just kind of help my dad and help things. She had gotten out of her recovery center and everything, or rehab center, and I wanted to go help out. But I didn't want to take a train because I already had a bad experience on a train. That's another story. So, and I didn't want to fly because I couldn't afford it. So I thought, we'll just take the Greyhound. I've been on the Greyhound before. This won't be a problem. So I'm going to take a Greyhound. I'm going to take a couple of my kids with me, and we'll just enjoy traveling cross country on a Greyhound. And so we go to the Greyhound station, me and the kids and I. And, just because they sell you a ticket doesn't mean they guarantee you a seat. Did you know that? They will oversell tickets for Greyhound. Scotch bonnet. It's not that either. Habanero. Red cherry hot peppers, maybe. It has always been considered hate speech over there in Australia if you say kraut. I mean, I get it, but I mean, if you're in a canning group and you're talking about making your kraut, I don't know. I think I told you guys the other day that my son was talking on Facebook with a childhood friend who in elementary school used to just like play on the jungle gym like crazy, and they call him Monkey. And my son had posted some pictures of his puppy, and his friend said, "Hey, I'd love to see more pictures." He says, "Hey, Monkey, I'll be posting some of the more of those later." And my son got flagged for hate speech for using the word monkey. Oh my gosh. It is getting ridiculous, isn't it, Lynette? So anyways, we get to the bus station and there's not enough seats for us to get on the bus. So one of my boys had to stand. I mean, they actually put us on the bus. I found a seat and one of my boys had to stand. And finally, a seat opened up not too far down the road. And my son had to sit next to this woman, an elderly woman. And bless her heart. You know what it is when you say bless your heart. Oh, Lord. Oh, Yogi is here. She's here. All right. Yeah, speak of the devil, she's here. Oh, look how green my eyes look today. Look, my eyes don't even look brown, do they? What color are they? They're green today. Isn't that something? So my son finally gets to sit down, and he sits down next to this little old woman. And I'll give you the whole rundown of her garb. So she's got probably 3 layers of socks on. Now, this is in the summer. We started in Southern California, and then our route was up through Las Vegas, and then through Utah, and up over the Rocky Mountains, blah, 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 blah. Across Wyoming. It's the middle of summer. She has on no less than 3 pairs of socks and sandals and a skirt and maybe 3 or 4 layers of clothing for her shirts and her sweaters and a babushka wrapped around her head. Speaks no English. I think she's just as adorable as Punch. And so I tell my son, sit down before you lose that seat. You sit with her. And he sits with her. And I look back to check on him every once in a while, and he's got this look, this petrified look on his face. Mom, save me, please. I'm like, you're fine. Sit down. Be quiet. And he was like, Mom, I can't take it. It's like, she's just a little lady. Just relax. Well, when we got to the stop in Vegas, some people got off, some people got on, but we had enough time to go into the depot to buy some refreshments and whatever. And she kept coming up to me with her hand like this. And she was asking me a question in a language I did not understand. And to me, this meant my grandma was going to beat the tar out of me. I mean, I had a whooping coming. So I know she wasn't threatening me with whooping me or my kid. And I just didn't understand what it was. And after a while, I finally got the gist of what she was saying. She wanted to know where the bathroom was. So I showed her where the ladies' room was. She was so grateful. But I still want to know what this was. And I fear what she did with this hand to signify that that's where she wanted to know where the bathroom was. I don't know if she came from a culture that they don't use toilet paper and this was it, and she wanted to know where it was. I don't know. So enough people got off that my son could sit somewhere else. He was so thankful. He moved to the front of the bus where I could keep a better eye on him. But that little old lady still sat behind me. And for 3 days, she had a steady diet of hard rolls and sauerkraut in this little, like a Tupperware dish. So she would open the Tupperware dish of that sauerkraut that had just been like fermenting God knows how long. And she would break her roll and scoop up some sauerkraut and have her roll. And the smell of the sauerkraut just permeated the entire bus. So I realized when you're in the summer and you've got all of those layers of clothing, A, she really didn't smell pleasant. And I can understand why my son didn't want to sit with her. B, I don't know what her toileting habits were, but I can attest it probably really just added to that smell. And then she's got all this sauerkraut. 3 days of sauerkraut. And there really was no place for me to move. And I had 2 small children and I was just kind of set up where I was. And so we dealt with it. And it was such like the toilet on the bus overflowed. It was a mess. It was one of those trips from hell. So I've got these 2 little kids and the toilet's overflowing. And we've got this little lady that smells like sauerkraut and body odor. But I didn't have the worst of it. My son that had moved had just really gotten into Star Wars and he had some Star Wars books. And who in here has seen Airplane, the movie Airplane? And you know how the one character, I can't remember his name though. He's the main guy that the story's about. You know how he sits on the plane and he starts telling his story and one by one people start offing themselves? My son was so excited about Star Wars and everything he was learning in this book. He would just talk people's ears off for hours. I mean, when they had a chance to move, they moved. And he would get a new victim and he would just talk and talk. And you can see them going, committing Harry just to put themselves out of their misery from listening to this 10-year-old kid go on and on and on and on about Star Wars. It was so funny. You know who I'm talking about then, Gail. But when we finally got off the bus, I was so thrilled to get off that bus. And my mother and my father came and picked us up at the bus station. And my mom she's so happy. She's so happy that we're there. And she's so happy to let me know that the Lions Club or somebody was having a dinner that night and she bought us tickets to go. She was so happy that we get to go to this dinner. She was so happy that I arrived in time. And so we went to this dinner and I walked in and the funk of sauerkraut just slapped me in the face again. And it was a bratwurst and sauerkraut feast. And so it was just nothing but sauerkraut. And I just had 3 days of sauerkraut stench. And then to make it worse was not only did I have to try to plug my nose to keep from smelling the sauerkraut, and I really don't like brats. I mean, back then I was eating meat, but the brats have a certain flavor to them that I just couldn't quite embrace. But then it was right when all of the farmers were able to come in and get their dinner. And so all of these farmers came in with pig poop all over their boots. And so it smelled like pig poop and sauerkraut and brats. And my mom was just so happy. And I just had to just like smile at my mom and say, gee, thanks. But I don't do sauerkraut. I can't stand it. And even now when I drive by the pig farm, some days they just smell so horrible. So horrible. So that was... Okay, Casey. So I have another Casey. Ormsby Farms is Casey. I remember that now. I don't know why I couldn't remember that because I've been emailing her and now it comes to my mind. So Lisa, that is why I don't do sauerkraut, was that poor little old woman that we had to sit with on the bus. And we would, if we just wanted fresh air, like I said, it was summertime, but they had the air running. You couldn't put the windows down. And we just had this bus driver that was just, I don't even, he was a dictator. I'll just say it that way. You couldn't do anything on the bus. And when he would stop somewhere, I don't know why he would do this. I mean, I get it, but he would stop somewhere. It was like a game to him. He would stop on one side of a parking lot next to an empty gas station. And he'd say, okay, everybody, 10-minute smoke break. You can get out, stretch your legs, have a smoke. And then like on the other side of the parking lot would be a McDonald's. And he'd say, don't even try to go to the McDonald's. I can promise you right now, you won't make it. You can try, but you won't make it back in time. I'm leaving here in 10 minutes. And if you're not on the bus, it's too bad. I don't even care if you're running up to the bus. I'm closing the door and I'm driving away. If you want to risk it, it's on you. But I can tell you, you're not going to make it. And then he'd sit back and he'd watch to see who was going to try to run to make it to the McDonald's. Oh, the aroma. I don't like sauerkraut. I never did. And that was before that trip. I don't know. I just never did like it. There's just things that my mom and dad either didn't introduce to me at the right time in life or what. I mean, I might like it now. I doubt it. They used to love to have blue cheese dressing on their salads. And I would just, now I got the hiccups, turn my nose up at blue cheese dressing. Ugh. Now I love it. So, and you guys saw me eat on one of my lives the other day. I ate my very first cherry tomato. Not a big tomato fan. I like them in salsas. I love ketchup. I like my pasta sauce, but I don't like tomatoes. And I had my first raw tomato here the other day on one of my lives. And then just last night, I dropped that video about those roasted tomatoes. Oh, they're so good. I made them again last night. I made them for dinner. I have some chicken strips, some faux chicken strips, and I grilled those up in a skillet, in a cast iron skillet with some ghee and some of my salts that I made this week. I'm going to be putting that video up. I'm going to actually, I'm going to put my salts in their containers in a little bit. See, can I grab it without dumping them everywhere? They've been sitting on the counter for 3 days. 3 days? More than that. They've been sitting here for several days now so that they can dry, because you want to make sure that, because I added fresh herbs, you want that more. Oh my gosh, that smells so good. Oh my gosh. Look at my herb salts, guys. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? You see those? Look at that. Oh, this one has thyme from my garden, rosemary from my garden, a little bit of basil, because I got a basil salt on the other side, and some sage. And the sage is not from my garden, but the sage is from a neighbor friend. She gave me a big bundle of sage, and she had it all wrapped up like to smudge, burn it and smudge and put it around my home. But since I didn't have any sage, pardon my reach, I used that. So I'm going to be putting those in their cans or in their jars today because they've dried all the way out. But I made some more tomatoes last night, and I did my cherry tomatoes, drizzled them with olive oil, sprinkled some of that homemade seasoned salt, that herb salt over them, and popped them in my toaster oven. And then I also sprinkled a little bit on my chicken that I was cooking up. And then I had just a little half a bag of tortellini, 4-cheese tortellini. So I had my tortellinis, my chicken strips, not breaded chicken strips, just like you would cut up a breast, and my tomatoes. And then I poured some Alfredo sauce over the top. So good to get a little piece of chicken and a little piece of the tortellini and then a little tomato, and it would just, the flavor would just burst. I'm killing you. I know you liked that video, didn't you? Proud of you for eating that first cherry tomato. Thank you, Michael. Our tastes evolves through our lives. They sure do. It's good to continue to try new things. I used to work with two teachers at a creative arts academy. It was a charter school, and they'd always say, learn something new every day. Learn something new. So I try to learn something new all the time. And it's funny because they would just throw that out anytime kid would go, can I go to the bathroom? Learn something new. So yes, oh my gosh, that was such a good dinner. And I told my husband, I said, the only thing that's missing is I didn't make any of my artisan bread. I cannot wait. Oh, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to make some artisan bread and cut some deep, deep cuts in it. So it kind of just, as it rises and bakes, it's got those big, deep crevices. And before it bakes, I want to sprinkle some of this salt that I made in it all over the top. Oh, that's going to be so good. And then to cut a big, long slice of it and take some of those cherry tomatoes that I've got in oil, they're in my fridge right now, and smear them across the top and put them under the broiler with a little bit of shredded Parmesan, not the powder stuff, but the real stuff. Oh, that's going to be so good. Dad has a question. Daz has a question. Yes, Daz. Question, Daz. Hello, Donna. Why do Americans say herb? What happened to the bloody H, you guys? Oh, the herb? I don't know. I've always heard it as herbs. I hear some people say herbs. I don't know why we dropped the H, Daz. That is a good question. Maybe somebody in here will have that. But I don't know. I've just always heard herb. Oh, or I scrolled up earlier, and Michael says that must have been a lovely mixture of odors. It was not. I never took the bus again. The next summer when I wanted to come out, somebody said, why don't you just drive? And I thought, why don't I just drive? I have a nice new vehicle. The kids and I can do whatever we want, stop whenever we want, and not be underneath the dictatorship of some power-hungry bus driver. And so we drove. And boy, we had a blast. We went everywhere. We were like a cross between the Griswolds and Michael from that movie, Michael, when he's the archangel. Because if we were driving and there was something to see, oh, world's biggest frying pan, I'm on it. I will drive 20 miles out of the way one direction just so I could see the world's biggest ball of string. And so the kids and I had a blast. We went to Fort Cody and Boot Hill and the largest windmill out here that they had. We went all these little fun places. We stopped when we went through Utah and took pictures of all of the different colored rocks and fun. We had a great time. They are herbs, not herbs. I get it. I know. I'm sure we have lots of other really strange words where we've dropped a consonant somewhere. So I'm going to drop the link again in case anybody wants to come up, but I am going to put the caveat that make sure there are no doggies in the background or children enjoying their lovely morning that are going to come through. And I'm not saying you have to come on, but if you want to, you can. Hello, Donna. Good morning. So we discussed my peppers. We went through our mail call. I told my little story about the sauerkraut. I showed you my herbed salt. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to get them in their little jars and finish that video. But I think it's really neat the things we learn in our community. This is all about learning. And so I'm trying to take some of the things that I've learned from others and share it with you from my perspective. And those tomatoes, I think, are a hit. And if you read the description on the tomato video, because I did quite a bit of research and I followed up on some other channels, you have your by the book, strict food preservationists that say, you can't do that. You cannot store your tomatoes that way. And then you've got other people say, people have been storing stuff in olive oil for eons. It's safe. And so I looked up about different foodborne diseases, and what everybody was clutching their pearls over was botulism. And botulism doesn't thrive in any situation or storage situation that is 50 degrees below, not 50 degrees below, 50 degrees or below, your botulism is not going to grow. Now, if you were to put those tomatoes in your olive oil and put them in your pantry, yeah, you might be in trouble but you're going to get mold anyways. But in the fridge, they should be fine. And the thing is that little quart size that I did, it's not going to last all winter long anyways. And I'm going to heat it up and put it on my stuff. It's going to be fine. Yeah, Daz, why is it knife and not knife? Oh, the funny things we have. Google says it's your choice on how you pronounce it, Daz. Here in America, we have the freedom to call them herbs. Maybe not for long. Somebody might mandate that we have to call them herbs. You like my hair this morning? Thank you, sweetie. I was sharing earlier, I just curled it real quick, and then when the camera came on, I forgot to brush out the curls. So I was sitting here kind of just running my fingers through, trying to hope to make it look like it wasn't just all stuck together. Good morning, Denise. Kerknife. Yes. So I was so happy that I finally had my husband's support, and I had the intestinal fortitude to head off cross country in a minivan with 2 children by myself. And oh, we had such a great time. We had our moments, though. We really did have our moments. But one of the funniest things about that first time that I drove out was when we came out here to Iowa. We made it, I don't know, in 2 or 3 days. And we were here when the fair was here, the county fair. And the county fair is just a few blocks from where my parents lived. And so the kids were always going down to the county fair. You don't have to pay to go to the fair. You can just walk in. And they were having so much fun. They would go all day and just spend all day down at the fair. And then my son got a job at the fair. He was so excited. I think he was about 11, and he came home and all excited because he got a job. And where we lived before in California, and I don't know where it is, everybody put in the comments on the side over here, when you go to a county fair where you grew up or where you live now, you know how they have the little bowls of water, the little fish bowls, and you throw the ping pong ball. And if you get a ping pong ball to land in the bowl with the goldfish, you get the goldfish. What do you guys get? I want to start seeing some answers on the side. I'd love to know if you've been to your county fair and they have that game. What is the prize if you get the ping pong bowl into the goldfish bowl? The ping pong bowl? The ping pong ball into the fish bowl. Gosh, I can't speak today. What do you guys normally get as a prize if you've ever noticed that game? Everybody's seen that game at the fair. Hello, Brian, the beer snob. How are you doing? Okay, Gail says you would win a stuffed animal. Usually a goldfish that would live for 2 hours, right? That's normally what you get in a goldfish bowl. Well, my son got a job at the little goldfish ping pong ball toss. And they gave out goldfish, says Lynette. The prize was, oh gosh, now I can't remember what it's called. It just jumped right out of my head. I know what it is in my head. You had 2 choices. And the 2 choices that you had when you were playing the game, you've got the little table set up in the center of the booth, right? And then you've got the grass area all around. And what you could win was all over the grass area all around. So my son had to be careful not to step on anything. So it wasn't goldfish because they wouldn't be running around. It's a lizard. I can't think of it. It's not a Gila monster. An iguana. An iguana. You had your choice of a baby iguana or a bunny rabbit. Those are what people were winning. Could you imagine taking your kid to the fair? And Denise has lived here long enough. She might have remembered this. I mean, it was probably 20 years ago. But they actually gave out, there were kids all over the fair with bunny rabbits and lizards. And my son was so excited because he not only got paid, he got paid a little bit, but he got to pick out his own rabbit when he was done. And then, of course, my younger son, he didn't think that was fair that he didn't have a rabbit. So he got a rabbit when he was done. So we had to travel back across country with 2 bunny rabbits in my minivan. And we had a place set up for them in the back of the minivan and everything. We had all of their things. But now I'm traveling cross country with 2 kids, 2 rabbits, and we would stop off at like little Motel 6s and we put the rabbits in the bathtub because I didn't have anywhere to put them. Oh my gosh, that was so much. And we were so worried that when we would transport them, because we didn't have any cages or anything, we'd transport them from the van into the hotel. And I was so afraid that we'd get caught. And it dictated our entire trip home, because if I wanted to stay someplace decent for $80, I could, but there was no way I was going to get the rabbits in without being seen. So we would have to stop off at the little roadside motels, and so that you could pull up right by the door so we could try to get the rabbits in, and we would put them in the bathtubs. But oh, those kids loved those rabbits. They loved those rabbits. It was Aaron was one and Butterscotch was the other. Oh my gosh. Those kids and those rabbits. And when I drove back home, we didn't live on a farm. We didn't live on any place really where we could house rabbits. They lived in the house. And it was just so funny to see them. They would run around on our tile floor, and they would, do their little burnouts and go sideways and run around a corner and hop and jump. And oh, they had so much fun. And the boys were working on their litter training and all this other stuff. And on really hot days, the rabbits would just lay out on the tile. They would just all stretch out and lay their bellies on the tile so they could get cool. Casey says, I haven't been to a fair in years. We don't have fairs near us. Good morning, Tina Ladybug. No, they weren't geckos, Michael. They were not geckos. They were, what did I say? Iguanas. Yeah, they were iguanas. Yeah, traveling with bunnies. I'm glad they didn't do it the time we took the train trip. Oh my gosh, the train trip. I'll tell you about the train trip. So the first time I came back by train, I came back because my grandpa was ill and he was not expected to get past his illness. And so I jumped on the train. My mom booked passage for myself and 3 children on a train. So I had packed our little carry-on bags with snacks and things to get us through, because I knew that I didn't have money. We were living paycheck to paycheck. And I didn't have money to feed the kids on a train because it's expensive on a train. And I had heard about, you're going to want to take some snacks with you for the kids because you're not going to be able to afford to feed the kids on the train. So we had, those little cheese and crackers or peanut butter and crackers. And I had a whole bunch of Vienna sausages. Those were easy enough to feed them. And so we set out on our train trip, and the kids loved it. They loved it. And it was so neat when we first started. And it was a little boring at first, but then we started getting through Utah and then up into Colorado. It was so beautiful. And I think it was in Utah, we had our first delay because we hit a truck. There was a truck on the tracks, and we hit a truck. And you felt it when we hit it. I mean, you could feel the impact from where we were sitting. And so we were delayed quite a bit because we had hit the truck. And once that got cleared up, we got back on the road again. And one of the most memorable parts was, and I love this, and one of my boys is still angry at me for this because I don't know. I like to find interesting ways to entertain my children and bring magic into their lives. And I've got one boy that he appreciates it now. And now Big Fish is one of his favorite movies because he appreciates it. But growing up, once he started realizing things, he didn't care for my version of magic. But this train had an observation car. And if you know anything about trains, or if you've been on a train, they have an observation car where it's just all glass windows, even up to the top of the roof is windows. And your seats face the windows and you can look out. And Wyoming and Nebraska are very boring states to go through. Sorry for those of you that love Wyoming and Nebraska. Very flat, just nothing but grassland. And one of the conductors had gone by and said, "Oh, we're in the perfect region right now to spot jackalope." And I knew what he was talking about. Now, my kids obviously didn't know what he was talking about, but there's this legendary thing here in the Midwest when you go through places like that where they've got the jackalope, which is a jackrabbit crossed with an antelope. So it's a jackrabbit that has horns, and it's a totally fictional thing. But people make fun of it. They really promote it. There's postcards with, jackalopes out on the prairie and everything. And I told the boys, "Oh, we need to go watch for jackalopes." Let me get caught up on my comments here. Yeah, Nebraska takes forever. So let's go watch jackalope. So we took all of our snacks and we went and we sat in the observation car, and the kids were just transfixed on the prairie as it would go by. And every once in a while I said, "Oh, there's one," and they'd get all excited. And, "Oh, you just missed it." They looked for hours for jackalopes. Oh, and then we hit our second truck, and so we were delayed again. And we were really delayed on that second truck. I don't know what happened. They don't tell you the details. You don't know how bad it was. I don't know if there were fatalities, but we were really delayed on that second one. And once we got back on the road again, we were behind a good 12 hours on our schedule. And I ran out of food. I ran out of food before we made it to Iowa, and I had no money. I had no food and 3 hungry, I'm going to call them babies. I mean, they were, I don't know, 8, 5, and 2. And I was just, anytime a conductor would walk by, I was like, "Please, can you just get my kids some crackers or something?" "Oh yeah, we'll get you some crackers. We'll be right back." And never brought me any crackers. But one of the hard things, and one of the things I learned about that trip that spelled out how the trip back. Yes, we hit 2 trucks on one trip. Your train crashed into 2 trucks, and you're talking about it like it's a normal occurrence. I know, but see, this is me we're talking about. If it's going to happen, we hit 2 vehicles on the way out. So, but when we first got on the train in California, I told the boys, "Hurry, run upstairs. We're going to get great seats upstairs. We're going to see everything." And we got all settled in. What I didn't realize is the restrooms are downstairs. So I take that back. I had a 3-year-old. So the youngest was 3. So obviously just like finishing up potty training. And so you know how that is. It's like, "Mommy, I got to go." And I didn't trust leaving my 2 other children alone. So it's like, "Everybody get up. We're all going down the stairs to the lower part of the train, so little one here doesn't tinkle in his pants or worse." So 3 years old, 3, 6, and 8. That's how old they were, I think. I can't add today. So it took us 3 days to get from California to Iowa. We were about 12 hours late, like I said. And for the whole trip, I had to take all the kids downstairs and then back up and then downstairs and back up. It was horrible. So I vowed on the way back, we're just going to sit in the lower portion because they do have seating. It's not as pretty. You don't get the beautiful views as much as you do up on the upper part. I thought we're going to sit so we have easy access to the bathrooms. And on the way back, there was a problem with their system, with their toileting system, and it smelled like crap all the way home. There were toilets we couldn't use because they'd overflowed. I don't know why they couldn't service them or figure out what was wrong, but it stunk. And I'd have to take the kids from one car to another car which meant going up the stairs, down the aisle to another car, and then downstairs to go to the bathroom. And it was horrible. I'm so glad we didn't have to try to sneak rabbits on board for that one. So I was already emotional on that trip because I knew it was the last time I was going to see my grandpa. When I kissed him goodbye, he wouldn't even look at me because he knew it was the last time. So I'm already an emotional wreck. I'm sitting where it smells like an outhouse. I've got 3 kids who are just tired. It's been a long emotional trip. And then when we were in Colorado, we were hit by an avalanche. Yes, Michael, an avalanche. We were literally stuck on the train tracks in Colorado in the mountains because we slammed into an avalanche. And I don't remember how many. Thankfully, my parents gave me some money for the trip back because I was able to feed the kids better. And I don't know how long we were stuck there, but finally got through the avalanche. So one trip, Michael, hit 2 vehicles and an avalanche on the train. And that's why I didn't want to take the train again. So I opted for the Greyhound. Oh my gosh. If you go to YouTube Studio and click on customize channel, you can get a customized channel address. Yes, once you get 100. Is there a feedback on mine? Because I didn't close out my YouTubes when I came on here. Is there a feedback? I guess I should have asked that first to make sure. Yes, and it's your actual channel name. Yeah, as soon as you get 100 subscribers, you can change that big long address that you have for your channel. You can change it so it's a personal one. I thought who froze? What did I freeze? Drop bears, yes. I'm checking on the must have been all the sauerkraut on the train. Maybe. Maybe it was all those upper tier people coming down and getting rid of all of that sauerkraut. Oh, it was awful. I mean, it really was. On the way back, it was just like going 1,700 miles in an outhouse porta potty. And I just about had enough. We were just outside of Vegas on our way back, and we were already late, like I said, because we had the avalanche. And I just had this, I don't know, I just had this sensation come over me. And I asked the lady across the aisle from me what time it was, and she told me the time. And I said, I think my grandpa just passed away. So I noted the time, and we finally made it home. I was so happy to see Papa Jim again. I hadn't, Jim and I were not used to being separated. And this was the first time I really took, well, no, I did when the kids were little. I would take little trips out here to Iowa, but this was the first time I just kind of packed up all the kids and left, but for a good reason, to be with my grandpa and help my mom. And I was just so happy to get home. I was so happy to finally get home. We were late. It was well after midnight when we got home. We were supposed to get there in the daytime, like right after he got off of work, he was going to come get us well after midnight. And he got us something to eat, and we got home. And I turned on the answering machine. We didn't have cell phones at that time. And I turned on the answering machine, and it was my mother calling me to tell me that my grandpa had passed away. And it was just at the time, just a couple minutes after I had felt that sensation on the train. And it was just amazing that I felt that. And then she called to say, and when I talked to my mom, she said my grandpa was in his bed all day with his 2 favorite cats. He had 2 orange tabby cats, Lover Boy and Alley Cat. And he was just petting his cats, and he kept asking my mom, did the kids make it home okay? Did the kids make it home okay? And my mom would say, oh, I'm sure, their train's supposed to arrive at this time. And that time would pass because we hit the avalanche. And he kept asking, did the kids make it home okay? And at some point, my mom said, I'm certain the kids made it home okay. Jim probably took them out to dinner, and they just haven't made it home yet to call us to let us know they made it home okay. And as he's petting his favorite kitty cat, he says, as long as they made it safe. And that was the last thing he said. Just petting his cats, his breathing just slowed, and he slipped away. But he waited all day to see if I made it home safe with the babies. Isn't that amazing? And for me to have felt that when I was on that train, that was just crazy. I know you said you were going to talk about it. Should I be scared? No, E3 Farmstead, don't be scared. Don't be scared. Thank you, Casey. That's one of my. I share stories. That's why it's Country Mama Musings. I just go on and I muse about all kinds of stuff. But I was so despondent over my grandpa passing away. I mean, he was such an important figure in my life. Papa Jim's going to kill me. I really wanted to honor him. And I thought, what better way to honor your grandparent than to have a child in their honor? So we already had 3 boys. And so I put into place my misconstrued thoughts at that time, I'm sure, to have a baby in his honor. So every night when we would go to bed, I had my medication there at the bedside to take every night, my birth control. And, we'd all put the babies to bed, and we'd go to bed, and I would take my birth control, and Jim would watch me take my birth control. Not that he was monitoring, it just was one of those things, like, you just pop the birth control in, take a drink of whatever, and go to sleep. Well, what my husband didn't see, what Papa Jim didn't see, is when I would pop the pill out of the packet and pop it in my mouth and take a drink, I was hiding it under my tongue. And then when he wasn't looking, I'd take it out and I'd shoved it in the plant next to the bed. I had a Dieffenbachia. And I remember I loved the plant Dieffenbachia because anytime would say, what kind of plant is that? And I'd say a Dieffenbachia. And they say Dieffenbachia. And I say, don't speak that way in front of my children. But it was a little Dieffenbachia. And I started putting my pills, shoving it down in the soil so he wouldn't see it because I wanted to have a baby for my grandpa. And the plant died. The plant died. And sure enough, within that month, Papa Jim woke up early one morning and feeling a little frisky. And he's wanting something, to send him off to work happy, and he's feeling a little frisky and everything. And I hold up this little pregnancy test. Does this look blue? The little line. Oh, that killed the mood right there. He didn't even say anything. He just got up and got dressed and went to work. He was so mad. And I tricked him. I'll admit it. But he was a planned baby, but he was only planned on my side. Thank you, Donna. I curled it right before I came on. So our 4th boy was due on my grandpa's birthday. Isn't that neat? That it worked out that way, that baby was going to be born on my grandpa's birthday. Now, because, hang on, I got to go back over here to Inca. I named my oldest son after my grandpa and my daughter after my grandma. I love them so much, even though my oldest decided to change his complete name as an adult, but my daughter loved her name. And, I was just going to get into names, Inca. I took that plant's chances for reproduction away. I did. I could say something totally out there, but I won't. Your grandpa waited to die until you could give him a hug. Isn't it amazing how loved ones hang on until? I remember my one grandma. She had a lot of things she was hanging on to, and my dad crawled into bed with her and told her to let go of those things that she had been hanging on to all of her life, and he gave her permission to let go of the anger and to just go home. And she'd hung on for days until he did that. He crawled into bed and just held her and said, you've got to let go of this and you've got to let go of that. And my grandmother had such a tragic life. And he finally convinced her to just kind of let go, and she just went to sleep. But anyways, my baby that was going to be born on my grandpa's birthday, I had to have a C-section. I had to have a scheduled C-section, and only 2 days were available, and neither of them were on his birthday. So I could either pick the 19th of December or the 24th of December. And I didn't want to be in the hospital on Christmas. I wanted to be home with all my other kids and have Christmas with my family. So I chose the 19th, and my grandpa's birthday was the 21st. So, but I didn't name him after my grandpa. Brian says he has 3 boys. Their middle names are their grandpa's names. My third son's middle name is my wife's maiden name. Isn't it amazing how we intertwine all of that? Now, see, all of my boys, I'll have to back up here so it makes sense. My father-in-law is John, but they called him Jack. So Jack had John, Joe, and James. I married James, but we call him Jim. So Jim and I had James Jr., Joshua, and Jacob. And then so we had this fourth baby, and I couldn't just throw a monkey wrench in the deal there and totally switch it up. So I had a most beautiful name picked up for him, and hubby said no. I wanted to name him Josiah so bad. All of my boys' names are biblical. And I wanted Josiah, and my husband said no. He just could not see naming a kid Josiah. He thought he would be teased. And I said, we can call him Joe, and you have a brother named Joe, so we'll call him Joe. He just wouldn't go for it. But my grandpa, his name was Russell Garnett, like the stone garnet. And I just couldn't see naming, you got John, or you got James, Joshua, and Jacob, and then Russell. And I didn't want to throw Garnet in there. And my husband would not agree to Josiah. So we decided on Justin because my mother had said that there was a scribe in the Old Testament and his name was Justinian. So we did Justin. So we've got James, Joshua, Jacob, and Justin. So, and if I would have had a girl, I probably would not have named a daughter after my grandparents either, because my grandmother's name on my mother's side was Gertrude Francis. And I couldn't see naming a little girl Gertrude. I thought she would get teased. And then my other grandmother was Mabel. And it turned out she wasn't biologically my grandmother. When I learned about my biological grandmother on my paternal side, her name was Frida. So I wouldn't have probably gone that route. Your son's middle name is after Sarah's father, and your daughter's middle name is the same as Sarah's mother's middle name. See, that's sweet. That's sweet. We did the James, but everything else, we have James, Paul, Joshua, Michael, Jacob, Aaron, and then Justin, Daniel, and they're all biblical names. And I didn't go with the family names. So that's where we got those boys. But hubby was upset with me for a little while for doing that, but he got over it. And Justin was a blessing and a gift. And he's one of our more obstinate children. But if you need somebody to get your back, that kid will take the heat. He's right there. He's one that he just puts it out there the way it is. And there's no mincing words with that kid. He just puts it out there the way it is. So I did share on Instagram, speaking of kids, we have our grandson, Anthony. And I shared with our Instagram group, and I shared with Daz in a private message. I was so proud of this boy who has always loved to cook. He always loves to make the family pancakes and stuff. And so when the high school offered a culinary program, he jumped right in. And, I remember home ec in high school. And you just went for class and you learned just food basics, measurements. Maybe you would make something in class. The only thing I really remember about home ec was the day that our teacher made a whole bunch of stuff and put different food coloring in it. So it would trick your mind and you had to decide whether you would eat it or not. She made Jell-O, but it was unflavored Jell-O, but it was red. So we all thought it was going to be cherry, and it wasn't. It was really gross. And she made green mashed potatoes, and the mashed potatoes tasted fine, but because they were green, you didn't want to eat them. And that's really all I remember about home ec class. But this boy, my grandson, Anthony, who's 15 now, he's in this culinary class, and it's like a full-on culinary class. They have the really cool chef aprons, and he's learning all kinds of stuff. And yesterday they had a farm to table event for the high school. And I think it was held out maybe out at the country club, little golf course that we have in this little community, because the atmosphere they're in was just beautiful. It's what you would imagine for a reception for a wedding, just gorgeous. And so everything they served, the people who were there, was raised here and came from local farms. So they did beautiful beef kebabs and fresh carrots, and it looked like they had potatoes, but then they also had apple flambe. And I shared a picture of my grandson in his apron, tableside. Don't you love it, like when you watch like Hell's Kitchen and they do the tableside stuff? Tableside apples flambe, and then he would put the apples flambe on top of a big scoop of homemade vanilla ice cream. So proud of him. He looks so good in his apron. And it was so neat because there was actually a video. It was so neat to watch him work the apples in his skillet and then tilt the skillet and catch the skillet on fire so that the apples were all flambéed. It was really great. I loved it. E3 is named after your aunt and your grandfather. All these neat name stories coming through. Michael says, my great-grandfather's name was Gaylord Younger, like Gaylord Fokker, related to the younger brothers of Jesse, James, and Younger Game. That is pretty neat. That's pretty neat, Michael. But would you have wanted to be named Gaylord? That's what I want to know. My son is named after my dad, where he didn't have any boys. Brian says, true story, my middle name was given to me in honor of both of my grandpa's middle names. Those were Sylvester and Savannah. My mom didn't like those, so she compromised and named me Scott. Very nice. Mennonite farmhouse. I was named after a cow. I love it. And was supposed to get my mom's first name for a middle name, but my dad didn't get to the hospital in time with the paperwork, so I don't have a middle name. My mom's name is Clover. Oh my gosh, I love that. Oh, I love that name, Clover. I love it. Donna says my mom named me after the Donna song from Richie Valens' plane crash. And Donna just got to go to the plane crash site this year. It's just about 40 miles north of us in Clear Lake, Iowa. Well, now I told you all where I live. They have a memorial set up out of the crash site, and Donna was able to go out there this last summer. The Green Acre. I can't make that story up. My first name is Leanne. I love it. I love the Clover. I always wish, and I think I'd shared this before, when I type my name, when I used to work and I would type my name, Alicia, sometimes I would hit the V instead of the C and it would say Olivia with an A. Oh, I wish my mother would have named me Olivia with an A. Olivia with an O, not so much. But Olivia with an A, I would have loved that. And I think I shared with you guys before, my mother always said that she named me after a song that she had heard in the 60s. I can't find that song. But when I was 12, we went down to Monterrey, Mexico, and I met my father's girlfriend that he had when he lived in Mexico, and her name was Alicia. I don't know what happened there. Very, very strange. But I would have loved to have been named Olivia with an A, or I would have loved to have been, my mom's original choice was to name me after my grandmother's, and it would have been Mary Frances, but they called her Molly. I would have been a fun Molly. Would have loved Molly. So I'm going to put the invite up again. Does anybody want to come on and say hello? Remember, you got to make sure that there's no doggies or lovely fun children playing where your microphone will pick up on anything. So my plans for today, I'm going to get my salts put away and I'm going to video record that. I just finished editing a video last night from when my granddaughter was here. And we did a lot of fun chores together, and it's going to be in chapters. And then I have a new challenge that I've accepted. I've accepted a challenge, and I'm going to do the challenge later in the month. And when I do the challenge, I might call some of you out to do the challenge. I think that would be fun. So I was talking earlier about E3, and I wanted to share something with them. They just had a giveaway for reaching 100 plus subscribers. It was a real fun night, except the bugs were really giving them issues. Clear Lake is further north than I was thinking. You're actually further north than where I live in Wisconsin. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? That you're like over there way up in Wisconsin, but I'm further north than you. Isn't that just amazing? So yeah, I want to go out to the crash site, but I haven't journeyed out there. It's about a half a mile hike. like on a pathway through a cornfield because they crashed in the middle of the cornfield. And the owner of the field has always kept a certain portion where he doesn't plant the corn so that that memorial can stay there. Right, Donna? Anthony's pretty great with his cooking skills, isn't he? So E3 had a giveaway to celebrate reaching a milestone, which, you know, for all of us here in YouTube land, we love reaching milestones. I'm so close to a milestone, so close to 500, and I still haven't decided what I'm going to get myself. I do have one thing put together for a giveaway for my 500, and it's not as I don't know. It's not as fancy as some do, but it means something to me. So anyways, so E3 had this giveaway, and it was just a fun night of everybody getting together. They had t-shirts and tumblers and a very I don't want to say the wrong word. A grumpy teenager who did not want to model the t-shirt all the time. They were like, "Come out here and show the t-shirt." And he's like, here it is." I think his name is Jacob. Oh, it was so funny. But the big grand prize was going to be a gift card. And our dear friend over at Yogi Hollow won the gift card and I was so happy for her. And the next thing I see is she pops up in the chat and says, "Give it to Country Mama." But I really wanted to put E3 out there. Go over if you haven't checked out their channel. Go over, give them a like, subscribe to them. They've just survived a storm that went through. They've got a horse named Mr. Rebel, and it's pretty neat, the property that they live on, and see some of the things that they're up to. And that is Sarah and Chris and Jacob. And then Yogi Hollow Farms, bless her for saying she didn't want that gift card. She wanted it to go to me to buy myself something nice. And I was literally in tears. And I wasn't going to accept it. And then she just kept saying, "Give it to Country Mama." And it's like, well, then I guess I'll take it. At 500, I'll be able to start a community tab. Oh, I don't know what that is. I'm going to have to look into that. I'm so close to 500. I think last I checked, I was at 474. So it was very nice of Yogi Hollow. I just love her. I'm so glad that we got a chance to meet up, and she and I have been sharing stories back and forth, and she just said to buy yourself something nice. And so what I've decided to do at this moment is maybe I should keep it as a surprise. Nah, I've been talking about it. My mother gave me a beautiful Cuisinart food processor 20 years ago, and I just love it. But I've lost the blade. I don't know what I've done with the blade. And I think I had one of those oops moments where I don't know if I threw it away when I was clearing things up. I'm kind of getting to that weird stage where it's like, where's the remote control? Oh, it's in the fridge. So I don't know what I did with this blade. And I think I might just go get myself a really nice new food processor so I can make my herb salts easier, because I had to break down all of these herbs and I didn't have a food processor. So I had to get the my little food chopper that you pull the drawstring on, and that did okay. But then I got my Ninja out and I put everything in the Ninja, and then that pulverized it, because you saw the Tuscan salt, but my my basil salt is like a fine powder. It's not really salty, it's fine powder, and I wanted it to be more coarse. I'm going to add more sea salt to that. I've got the Redmond's pink sea salt, the pink Himalayan salt. So, oh my gosh, there's a truck coming down the road right now. I wish you guys could see this. Flying on a gravel road. I swear he's probably going 60 miles an hour. Okay, so Brian, the beer snob, wants to come on. He's going to join us. So Brian, make sure there are no dogs, children, or cackling chickens in the background, because it comes through so loud. If you saw our party, if you were to go back at the very end of our party on Monday, everybody's like, ah! Here you come, here comes Brian.
Well, thank you for having me. I assure you my dog is sleeping at the other side of the house.
You're wearing my favorite shirt.
Oh, it's good food. I love good food. And that's why I'm so glad I wanted to join your channel, because I only found you because of I'm working on my shout out
Because of
video,
who
and
you.
I got one name on here. I don't know, Jim's Kitchen.
I
That
love
guy is
Jim's
fantastic.
Kitchen. I
He
love
did a
him.
shout out, and that's how I found you, and I found all those other people he shouted out to. Because honestly, I watch food shows on TV, and my wife's like, "Oh, are you learning how to cook these?" And I'm like, "No, no, no. I'm just fantasizing. I'm going to eat what they're making, and that's all I do. I just sit there and I drool, and I'm watching. And these channels the cooking, it's a new thing for me. I've subscribed to all the ones that
You're frozen.
he
I don't know if
his
there you go.
There we go. I'm
Every
back.
once in a while.
I'm glad because I love the content. I do. I just sit back and I watch it and I fantasize I get to eat all the things. And I have an old soul. I'm 52 years old, but my soul is quite a bit older. And
Same.
I love the video of the vintage cooking,
Mm-hmm.
like the Jello mold stuff. It sounds gross today, a chicken salad in a Jello mold, but I
I
love
don't
it.
know that I'd eat it.
I love it, and I love it. I love finding new content. So I'm glad that thanks to Jim, I found your channel, and I recognize some of the names in the chat that's going on. I've subscribed to them as well, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to all of this stuff. I know my name is Brian the Beer Snob. Most of my content is beer related. I know that's not everybody's thing, but I'm trying to branch out. I'm trying to do some new things, and
I
I'm
wish
just
I could
glad that I'm
say
here.
I wish I could say I love beer, but
It's
I've never I've even tried like a hard cider beer, like the Angry, what is it, the Angry Orchard
yeah.
has the beer. I don't know. There's something about I can't wrap myself around it yet. I mean,
Well, if
I
you
try.
ask me, it's just because you haven't had the right one yet.
It might be that I haven't had the right one. We did go to we went on a walking tour in downtown San Diego in the gas lamp district, and there was a brewery there, and we tried all the different ones. And so I mean, I had the fresh ones right there that they do at the brewery with their, you buy a flight and you try all the different ones. And I don't know what it is about it, but I can't seem to pull myself to enjoying the beer. But I don't know if you saw me with my cranberry and coconut rum on Monday, but
Well, that
that
sounds
I like.
fantastic.
I poured a little bit more rum in there than I realized. I didn't realize till I went back and watched it just how much rum I poured into that cranberry juice. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, hard liquor is like a different story to me. I mean, I don't know. Every time I drank hard liquor, it felt like I had like rocks in my stomach, and it just hurt. I didn't like it. Didn't like the
Mm,
feeling. I'm just
you like your beer.
everybody's confused. They think because my YouTube name is Brian the Beer Snob that I'm some uppity, high class, bougie kind of person, and I'm not.
Ooh,
I
Brian the Bougie.
I only chose that name because for years I drank the cheapest thing. It didn't matter. It was as long as it was cheap and you could get the most amount for the cheap price. That's what
Right.
I was drinking. Now that I'm old, it's like, man, I worked hard all my life.
You're
I
not
can
old, you're
afford to spend a
refined.
little bit more. What is there? And I started buying other things that were, way more expensive. I never would have bought those as the younger me would have. And I'm glad because you know what? I don't need to drink 12 in one sitting. I drink one
Right.
now. I drink one. I want
You
one
sip the quality, not go
quality
for the quantity.
Quality, yeah, and quality costs money, as we all know. It doesn't matter what you buy. If you buy, something that costs $1 and you buy the same thing that costs $10, well, I guarantee you the one that costs $1 is going to break, well before the $10 one is. But
We have a little brewery here in town, and we get a growler. I fill up a growler every once in a while for my husband. And I got him one that's called Slobber Knocker. And it's too much for you. This
slobber
is too
knocker.
much.
See, I would buy that just for the name
Right.
because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
funny.
They've
It's
got some
funny.
great names. So Slobber Knocker is their most, I'll pick the wrong word here, but like their most hearty. I was going to say pungent, but that wasn't right. It's the heartiest dark ale that they've got. So, Southern Sandy wanted to know if I had seen your video on your shower beer review.
I had to swallow my pride when I filmed that. Yes, there's a beer and it's called shower beer, and I'm a beer reviewer. That's the main thing that I do. And I mean, where are you going to review a beer called shower beer? So I reviewed it in the shower.
In the
I was
shower.
actually in the, yes, I had to edit, there's no nudity. It's not that.
Oh,
It's
wow.
edited so that you don't see that. But I had to review it in the shower, and as I predicted, I didn't like that beer. And as a matter of fact, I said
Oh,
in the video, I said I'm kind of regretting doing this video in the shower for more reasons than one. Um, I didn't like how it tasted, and two, I put myself out there for the world to see.
you know what?
Minus,
Life's too short not to. Who cares?
you know what? It's all about having a good time. I mean,
Absolutely.
we can watch serious videos all day. I like videos, especially if you can throw some comedy in there and make somebody laugh that's watching it. That's all. That
Right.
means a lot more to me. I mean, the
Right.
world is a
And
serious
going
place.
back to
That doesn't mean we
comedy,
can't have fun.
I mean, who doesn't love Jim's Kitchen? For all of you in the side chat now, if you have not checked out Jim's Kitchen, he is hysterical. And my granddaughter loves him. She watches him all the time.
Well, let me
He's so
tell you
funny.
how I found him, because this is how this crazy YouTube thing works. So I've had a channel that's been following my channel, and I've followed theirs for a long time now. And their channel, it's a cooking channel. It's called Flour, Eggs, and
Eggs
Yeast.
and yeast.
And they're on
Teresa, I think.
yeah, Teresa and Cam, and they're on camera together a lot. And I started a little series I'm doing. It's called TV Shows That Never Were, But Should Have Been. And I'm just taking existing TV shows and I'm tweaking them a little bit to, make them a funny little thing. And I reached out to Teresa and Cam on Flour, Eggs, and Yeast, and I said, I'm doing this little TV show spoof, and I'd like you guys to be in it. This is my thoughts. And they emailed me back immediately. Said, "Oh, we don't think this would be we can't pull this off, but we know the guy who can." And they gave me Jim's Kitchens page. So I went and I saw some of his videos. He's a funny guy. His channel is just awesome. Any of your viewers who have not checked him out need to check him out. He's
Be
hilarious.
honest. The first time you saw his channel, didn't you think, oh man, I wish I would have thought to do that? His filters and stuff. It's like, oh,
Yeah, so I
I
said this
wish I
guy
did
is
that.
like a master editor. He's a great actor, and he's funny. But you can be, funny with a straight face. And that's kind of where I'm going with my videos. I want them to be funny, but I want it to be like deadpan. Like, don't show the funniness on your face, but be funny. And when I emailed him and I asked him, I said, "Hey, I was referred to you by Flour, Eggs, and Yeast. Would you be interested in doing a collaboration? I know I'm not a food channel. Would you be interested in doing a little collaboration?" I told him what I had in mind, and he said, "Oh, absolutely." He said, "Just let me know what you need." I sent him, and he was quick. He said, "Give me a few days. I had to order some things from Amazon. When they come in, I'm going to shoot my parts." And I'm working on that video today. I'm watching your little live right now, but today I'm going to be editing all the pieces together. That show is going to come out on Monday, and it's going to be Jim's Kitchen interstellar debut as an actor on a TV show that never was, but should have been. And it's going to be fantastic because, like all of the creators that I reach out to, not just beer reviewers, I try to do a lot of cross-channel work, because it puts your viewers in front of me and it puts my viewers in front of you, and
Exactly.
it's a way to grow, because we're all small YouTubers. None of us have 1,000 subscribers. We're trying to make our mark, and to be honest, your niche is a way bigger niche than the niche that I'm in. There's not many people that search out beer reviews on YouTube. So I mean, if you make it to 1,000 subscribers, you've kind of hit it. But that's pretty much, there's not many beer reviewers that are more than that. So I mean, I know it's a small niche. So just trying to reach as many people as we can, and have fun along the way, and hopefully you'll get some subscribers from people that are on my channel, and hopefully I get some from people that are on
Yeah.
your channel.
I mean,
And
that's what it is. It's all about just reaching out, and as Roost and Rescue says, it's communitized. It's a
yeah, and
community.
and and I can't see the chat right now because I'm on the screen, but whoever your what is that called, the moderator, the person on the
Moderator.
side, is doing a great job, doing something I've never seen on a live before. I've been on several lives, I've hosted lives, but the way they're putting the channel links to
Mm-hmm.
people's pages on the side,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, everyone, I scrolled up through the chat, everyone that they posted, I went through and I subscribed to it because I'm like,
Make sure you comment. You watch one of their videos and comment.
I will.
Otherwise,
Once the live ends and I'm off, I'm going to go back through and I'm going to say, that I subbed on you because I was on your channel with
mm-hmm.
the little coffee chat and PJ after party. I'll have to ask you about that.
Oh, we had a
I tuned in
PJ party on
late. I
Monday.
guess I missed the coffee chat and the PJ after party. What is all that about?
Well, this whole thing is a PJ after party because on Monday we had a PJ party where
Okay.
everybody showed up in their pajamas and it was a brunch. So I had it at 11 o'clock. So everybody was encouraged to, show up and bring whatever brunch fare that you want to bring. And we'll just sit around and we played Never Have I Ever, and we did some icebreaker questions. And so, I had told my friend down in Tennessee that I was going to have a little cocktail. And she says, "Don't you think it's a little early to have a cocktail?" And I said, "It's brunch. If I were to go down to the winery or to a golf club or something, and golf club, you know what I mean? And you were going to go to lunch on a Sunday brunch, there would be mimosas. You're not going
Right.
to find a brunch without mimosas. And I didn't have stuff here to make mimosas. So I thought I'll just have a little cranberry cocktail. So you say that you think you've got a smaller niche. There are people like me that then go onto YouTube that search stuff. And I went on and I searched and I watched several videos to find the perfect cranberry cocktail. So you're going to have people out there, they're going to say, "You know what? I need to find something about a beer." And they're going to look for you. So I brought out my homemade my homemade cranberry juice. I make my own cranberry juice. And then I
Nice.
added some blue chair coconut rum. And from me just sitting here pouring it, I didn't think I poured that much. I thought I poured about a shot into a quart, but it was much more than that. And it doesn't take long. I was turning red and I was slurring my words. And oh my gosh, we had so much fun though. So this is the after party to the PJ party, but
Okay.
no imbibing today. But I had said to everybody on Monday, it's like, I don't even know if I'm going to do a live on Wednesday because what are we going to talk about? And Yogi over at Yogi Hollow Farm says, um, she said, just have it be an after party. I just lost my train of thought because somebody was talking about Jim's Kitchen. She said, have it be an after party. I said, okay, we'll do it as an after party and we'll see if we can find something to talk about. So Ormsey said they just subscribed to Jim's Kitchen and he is funny. He is so funny. You guys, if you subscribe and you watch a video, make sure you tell him Country Mama and Brian the Beer Snob sent you over so he knows where his traffic's coming from. So
Yeah.
I don't know how long Brian has been following Jim's Kitchen, but Jim had a giveaway at 300. Were you around then for the giveaway at 300?
I've only known, like I said, 2 weeks ago is when I
Oh,
found out about his channel from
okay.
Flour, Eggs, and Yeast. And as soon as I sent him the email and he said he was interested, I immediately went to his channel. I subscribed, and then I started watching his videos. And I said, "This, I have to credit Cam and Teresa from Flour, Eggs, and Yeast for pointing me out to him because I had no idea he was out there. And after watching the videos, I have no doubt." He is the perfect person to play the part I needed him to play in my collaboration video. And like I said, he really, the thing about YouTube creators is they are creative.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't like to, if I ask you to collaborate with me, I'm not going to tell you what you need to do in the collaboration. I'm just going to say, if you want to collaborate, this is the theme I'm going with. You do it however you want to do it. You shoot it how you want to shoot it. You say what you want to say, however you want to do it. And then you just send me the footage, basically, and I will edit it into the thing for the collaboration. And people are just so creative that it's just everybody that I've collaborated with my expectations are like here. And
Mm-hmm.
what they give me is like off the charts up way more than I ever
No pressure.
anticipated because like I say, there's no money involved. I mean,
Right.
I'm not paying them to do this. I'm just asking them to do it. And, everybody is so creative on different levels. It's like, man, I never thought of that. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you did that, because
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have thought it. And it's going to make the video so much better. And like I say, the whole goal of collaborations is to share our subscribers. You know,
Right.
put your stuff in front of mine and put my stuff in front of yours. Not everybody's going to like it. It's not going to be everybody's thing. But you know what? Subscribing doesn't cost any money. It's a free thing. And you know, I'm willing. I love to spread the love, and that's why, you know, I've learned, you know, like I say, learned about you from I think they're calling it a shout out. I don't know if it's a shout out challenge or it's just called shout outs, where they
Yeah.
basically list some channels that have less than 1,000 subscribers, great channels that they watch, and they put the links out there so you can click on it. And I'm glad Jim's Kitchen did it, because that was the first video I saw like that. And then there was you know, another channel that I found from that, ML's Words of Wisdom. She did a
Isn't
shout
she
out.
funny? She's
She's
like the Carol Burnett of the
that's the
2020s.
vibe I got. She is very Carol Burnettish, and you know, I'm old enough that I grew up in the '70s watching the Carol Burnett show, and
Right.
it was hilarious. I loved it, and that's exactly the vibe I get from her. So being a new subscriber to her, I got a lot of catching up to do. I got to go through and I got to watch all these videos because I just can't stop. I'm
Right.
binge watching.
Yeah, and her videos are short enough. You can throw in a couple every now and then. And it's always funny. She does her little hand signals and then she claps. And it's like, okay, let's go. And she's
Yeah.
so much like Carol Burnett. She's so funny.
And she's got that accent. She's got that. It
She
reminds me of that
does.
movie Fargo.
She does.
She's got that. Yeah, she's got that accent, which I think adds to the lure. You know,
Right.
it just sucks me right in. It
And
sucks me
it's
in. I gotta
genuine.
watch it.
She's
Yeah,
not making it up. It's genuine. She's got that genuine Minnesota
yeah,
accent, you know.
yeah.
Oh golly gee Moses now, you know, and she just gets in there and she's so funny. But Jim, I love the fact that Jim, okay, it's just the UPS man. Stop. Everybody's on guard. See, I said about dogs, barking dogs. Sorry, everybody. Brian, you talk. I'm going to mute myself real quick until they stop.
Okay. Well, while your dog is barking, I do have a dog, and occasionally he has made a vocal appearance in my videos. And I just learned I tune it out. I don't even notice until I'm watching my playback, and I'm like, oh man, Wolfie was barking the whole time, and I didn't even notice it. But the star of my show is Tiger. Normally he'd be right here on top of my laptop because he's a Devo. I think is Devo the right word, because he's a male cat. He likes to get on camera. Only he doesn't want anything to do with me. Like right now, he's not here because the camera's not on. But if I was filming a video, he would jump right. It's like he knows it's a magnet. He jumps there. He's got to get his face on camera. Usually he blocks me because he's between me and the camera. But he's Tiger, and his lawyers basically told me he gets to do what he wants to do. That's the end of the story. So I got to take what I get from Tiger. I mean, well, let me see if I can read the other comments while I'm in here. Yeah, it won't let me click. I can't see the side comments, so I don't know. Oh, there they go. There they go. I love it. There's a couple of people on.
They're off to the side.
Yeah, there they are. I see them. And so Ormsby's Farms loves collaborating. I don't know if the link has been posted in the chat for their page yet, but I promise any links that are posted to pages in the chat, I'm immediately going to follow. Green Acre says collaborations are great. Always open to collab. Like I say, just because I do beer reviews as my channel theme or whatever, I'm up for anything. I am a green screen-aholic. Most of my videos, I use a green screen just to bring the background into the conversation with what I'm talking about. But
Daz has green screens. You've got the green screen. I don't know how to do it. Have you watched the Green Acre?
I think if before I came on the video, if it was posted in the side, I clicked on every one that I saw. And normally I like to comment when I subscribe, saying where I found that channel at. But since I'm watching you live, when I click on the link, their page opened up in a separate window, and it was just like their homepage. So I clicked
Right.
subscribe, and then I came back to your show. But I'll know who my people I just subscribed to, because I'll recognize the names from here, and I'll comment on a video of theirs so they know that I found them from your live stream.
Michael at Greenacre has great cinematography. Very well done. And then Gail's Southern Living, she wants you to email her because she would like to invite you to come on to one of her lives for an interview. And I need to get in touch with her because she's asked me to do the same and I haven't gotten back in touch with her. So she does interviews and that's really neat. So she wants you to get in touch with her. She'd love to learn a little bit more about you.
Well, I would love to do that. I'm copying and pasting her email address, but my email address is plain and simple. It's brianthebeersnob@gmail.com. And like I say, it doesn't matter what your channel is about. I'm always open to a collaboration, and I'll do whatever you ask me to do. It doesn't have to be beer related. If you have a channel that talks about marshmallows, I'd be more than happy to be on a show with you talking about marshmallows, because I love those too.
I saw earlier somebody had put in the comments that they would love to see you do a recipe with beer.
Oh, I think I admitted earlier in the chat that I am not a cook. I can make like chili in a crock pot. I'm a crock pot chili maker. And I make spaghetti. And when I say spaghetti, I mean spaghetti. I've tried to be creative and throw garlic bread in the mix. I always forget it's in the oven. I'm at the table eating my spaghetti, and I'm like, what's that smell? And then I got charcoal briquettes I'm pulling out of the oven, because I'm a man and I'm one-track mind. When I think of food, I'm a horrible multitasker.
But this is
I love watching cooks, because they got 5 different things going at the same time, and I'm like, wait, this one got to cook for 8 minutes. This one's got to be in the oven for 45 minutes. My brain, I can't.
But this is where you can branch out and search some things on YouTube and find a recipe that speaks to you that would be one that you could handle. And then you could do a video introducing beer into a recipe. And the one that comes to mind for me is a beer can happy chicken.
Is that like where you put the beer can and you set the chicken on top of it?
Yeah.
Nice.
You can get
I've seen a lot of those, and I've never had one. So that's something I need to try.
See, that's something you need to try. And you need to try it not just with like a Pabst Blue Ribbon. You need to try it with a really nice can of beer.
It's funny that you mentioned Pabst Blue Ribbon. I did a video review of that, and that was my first foray into complicated editing. So I didn't know how it was going to turn out. I had a few people in the video with me. Everybody shot their scenes. It was like 3 weeks worth of receiving videos. And I'm like, how am I going to put this together? But I filmed it in a newscast format.
Fun. And
I have a woman on there. She's my wife's best friend. I said, Fiamma, I'm doing a video in a newscast format, and every newscast has a weather girl. And I said, would you be interested in being the weather girl in my video? And she said, yeah, sure. What do you want me to do? And I said, well, you're not going to be doing the weather. You're going to be called a beer forecaster. And I just want you to point to the map of the United States, and I want you to get everything wrong. Like if you point into New York, say it's Louisiana. If you're pointing to California, say it's Texas. I said the reason being is because I have a beer review channel, and it's mostly guys watching my channel, and they're not going to care what you're pointing at, what you're saying. I mean, to be honest, but it's funny because she's straight-faced. She did it first take, no problems, did it, and it turned out good. And I mean, I don't want to do any selfless plug promotion, but if anybody goes to my channel and searches Pabst Blue Ribbon, that video is just, it's my proudest video. Of all the videos I've done, that's my proudest one, because it was so hard to put all those pieces together and make it look legitimate. And I think
Right.
I kind of pulled it off. I mean, I amazed myself with that one.
You've got suggestions for beer battered chicken, and I was going to suggest this, and Denise just dropped it: beer battered onion rings.
Oh, I do love
See,
onion rings. Yeah.
you've got something. So somebody wants to see a recipe from you. You've got a few good selections there.
Well,
Something to
this
put in your
might be
bonnet
another
and think about.
direction I need to go then, because as a novice cook, it would be new to me and it would be new to my viewers. So
And you
maybe
know
this
what?
is,
And even if it's a fail, it's still a video. And if you can laugh about yourself while you make it and laugh at your failures,
yeah,
but you might turn out to make the best chicken or onion rings you've ever put out there and be, proud of yourself again. You don't know till you try.
that's right. And I wasn't raised to waste food. So even if it turns out horrifically, I'm
You're
still
gonna
going to have to
you're
eat
gonna
it.
gum it down.
I'm still going to have to eat it.
Well, yeah, Ormsby Farms is going to be doing a collaboration. They've reached out to me, and I said I'm not sure how I can help with this, but I gave some suggestions of what I could because I didn't quite fit the I don't want to say criteria, but the suggestions that they were wanting. But it looks like we might be putting something together there. Oh, beer bread,
Oh,
a
yeah.
good beer and cheddar bread
Yeah.
that you could do. And yes, Green Acres is having their first live tonight to celebrate 1 year on YouTube. So you guys, if you get a chance, make sure you hop in tonight.
What time is that going to be? And I'll make sure I tune in for that.
Michael, what time is your live tonight? If you could pop that in there. And Denise says she just followed you, so you got another subscriber there.
Oh, thank you.
As a guy, people would think it's funny if you tried and failed.
That's true. Guys fail all the time. And I don't have any problems with failing in front of people, because you only truly fail if you don't try. I mean, as long as
Exactly.
you tried, it just didn't work out that time. But,
Right.
you don't
And if
fail
you
all the
can't
time.
laugh at yourself,
Yeah.
okay.
7 p.m. Central. So I'm in Georgia. I'm in the Atlanta, Georgia area. So that's going to be my time. And guess what? I don't have anything planned for 8 o'clock. So I'm going to write
There you
myself a
go.
note.
The Green Acre.
I'm going to be back. Green Acres live.
Yeah, the Green Acre. So look at, we're talking about recipes, all kinds of good stuff.
All right. Yeah, I didn't want to hijack your
Oh no,
live here.
this
I
is,
just
you're
wanted
not
to.
hijacking anything. This is what it's about. Is we've got great conversations going on the side panel. We've got this conversation going on here. I'm starting, my compressed disc is starting to act up on me. Yeah, beer battered onion
Oh,
rings,
that's
yum.
another conversation we could go down. I tell you what, I had a bad back for 9.5 years. I was a lowly functioning cripple.
Mm.
I had two small kids that I couldn't pick up. And when I say small, I mean like like a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. When I picked them up, it would just put me in such a way that I'd be walking sideways, because I had 3 substantial lower back traumas in my life. And when my wife was pregnant with my third son, she said, you're going to have to get that fixed, because I can't have 2 toddlers, a newborn, and you.
It
So,
couldn't have been too bad.
no, it was bad. It was bad. And
But you kept making babies.
I kept, well, yeah, that's another,
Couldn't have
that's
been
another
too bad.
story. But let me tell you what, I was like, whenever you take a dog to the vet, I don't think, if you say, let's go to the vet, boy, let's go to the vet, dogs don't get happy. They tuck their tail between their legs, their head goes down, they probably drop to the ground and gain 50 pounds, harder for you to pick them up. That's how I was. And I went to go talk to this back doctor, and he said, man, you're in a bad way. And I said, yeah. He's like, what do you want me to do for you? And I said, some relief. I said, I don't want pain pills. That's not the route I'm trying to go down. I said, I just need some relief, man, because this isn't good. And I did have the surgery, and it was a miracle. For me, it was a miracle. I got my life back. I'm totally pain-free. My surgery was in August of 2014.
Now this necklace is that a Marine insignia that I see there?
It is. I've got my
Semper
yeah.
Fi.
I am a jarhead, and it was great times. I loved it. So it features bad. The one thing when I joined was my mom said, I always get.
It's okay. This is a safe place. Emotions are welcome.
My mom had just asked me. She, she said, wherever you go and whatever you do, just please don't get a tattoo. No offense to people with tattoos. That's just what my mom asked of me. And I did 5.5 years. I'm tattoo free, but this is my tattoo.
There you
It
go.
doesn't come off except to clean it.
Mm-hmm.
I did that for my mom. And
I can remember, and this kind of goes hand in hand, and I can remember when I wanted to get my ears pierced as a little girl. And I just wanted it so badly because all of the girls in school had pierced ears. And I was just dead set that for my 12th birthday, I wanted my ears pierced. And I can remember my dad kneeling by my bed and putting his head on my bed and just sobbing because he didn't want me to mar my body. He said, it's a precious thing. You don't need to put holes in it. But I did. I got my ears pierced, but I did because I was 12 and didn't know any better. And I understand it now as a parent. You think of your little baby and all of that perfect little baby skin, and then they grow up and you don't want them. But my boys have tattoos, all four of them, and I got my first tattoo, I guess, in my 30s, and it was just kind of on a whim. My husband and I were walking in downtown San Diego, and you got the naval base right there, and everybody's getting tattoos, and just on a whim, we did it, and that turned into another tattoo, and then another tattoo, and then this last tattoo, because you don't know that much about me, Brian, but let me see if I can I see where it says warrior,
yeah,
and that is a cancer awareness ribbon. So this is a cancer awareness ribbon that goes into a 1942 typewriter font that says Warrior. And it comes down and around and it turns into, I don't know if you can see the detail.
it's very
It turns,
colorful.
it's a watercolor one. It turns into the feather from an angel's wing.
Okay.
And the feather from the angel's wing is spilling out all of the different colors of cancer for all of the different awarenesses. And then there's butterflies on here. And then that ribbon goes all the way down to the very tip of my hand. And then there's these butterflies, but the butterflies aren't colored in because they represent the women that I've met in my journey with ovarian cancer who didn't get to finish their story because they've passed on. And when I went to go get this tattoo, it was supposed to be
that's a
just
nice
this
nice way to
little,
honor.
it is. Well, and it's a nice way to honor them, but it's also it gets people's
Brother-in-law is
attention and gives me a
44
chance to
to
talk about it.
pancreatic cancer.
Who did?
I lost my brother-in-law at age 44 to pancreatic cancer.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure it's represented in the colors here. But this was 12 hours in one sitting to
Oh,
get
wow.
this.
Now, I got to ask you this because I am tattoo free. How does that feel for 12 hours of that going on?
Well, I have to tell you, the artist was concerned. See, like I said, it was supposed to start out just as tiny little feather and the bits of the feather breaking away into little birds flying away, and it said hope. And I told him my story, and he says, "Oh no, you have to have more of a statement piece. We're not going to put hope. We're going to put warrior." And he changed it all up.
Okay.
And he asked me if I thought I could handle it. And I said, I've just told you everything I've been through with this cancer. And if I could handle what I've been through with this cancer, I think I can handle the tattoo. And so I did. But I will admit to doing Lamaze breathing. There was a time where I would just go into my space and do the deep breathing like I would do when I was in labor having babies. So, but I managed, and I got home that night, and my husband was already in bed because it was a long day in that chair. And I showed it to him, and he says, "How do you think you're going to feel about that when you're an old lady?" And the gravity of his statement was so deep that I started to cry, and I said, "I hope I get to regret it as an old lady,
There you go. There you
because
go.
the survival rate for ovarian cancer is not that great." And I've lost several friends over the last 6 years. By the time most women are diagnosed, it's too late.
Yeah.
So I'm 6 years out. So I'm pretty proud of it. When I go out shopping, somebody will say, "Ooh, I like your tattoo." And it gives me a chance to talk to them about it. And I have more than once now had somebody say, "Ooh, I have some of those symptoms." And they get checked out. And I've had one young lady who says, "That almost kind of sounds like my grandma." And her grandma had ovarian cancer, and they didn't know until
Yeah.
she listened to it and went to her grandma and they got it checked. So, yeah, body modification is not encouraged in Michael's family. It was definitely not encouraged in my family growing up at all. But I don't know.
Well,
Just
in
kind
a,
of
in a
grew up.
way, I guess I modified my body as well, because I've got 4 titanium rods and 8 screws in my lower back. They're not there for the world to see, but they're there, and that's not the
And
way I was
and
born.
and they
But
they serve their purpose.
yeah, saved my life.
Yeah. I when since we're talking backs, every time I would have a CAT scan for my cancer, it would come up in the report that I have a compression. And, we haven't addressed it. It's going to probably degenerate as time goes by. But I was really feeling it when I would mow the lawn. We're on 5 acres. And when we
Oh,
would mow the lawn on my little John Deere lawnmower, the way I would sit, I would just be in so much pain when I would get done. So hubby was kind enough to get me a zero turn. So I sit differently, and that helps. But I'm actually working on a video that I still need to edit. But I went to my brother's. My brother invited me over to pick some raspberries at his house. And I would say his raspberry patch is probably 10 feet deep and about 80 feet long. And he wasn't going to be there. He was going to be in Chicago. And he says, "Hi, Chrissy from Along the River Homestead." He says, "Why don't you just come over?" He goes, "There's a chair out there. You can just sit and pick raspberries." So he's got the raspberries on a berm. So when you sit in a chair, you're kind of lean back anyways. He goes, "You sit on the edge of it and lean forward and pick." He goes, "Get that chair right up in there." Well, I didn't want to get the chair right up in there because I saw a spider. So I
oh,
was
I hate
kind of on
spiders
the
too.
berm, and I'm leaning backwards a little bit, and I sat on the edge, and it was just in a little bit of a pit of a divot. And so when I sat, and I'm a big girl, I sat and it pitched to the right, and I heard something go snap, and it's like,
Oh,
"Oh crap." And the whole thing went backwards, and the chair I just obliterated the chair. And yeah, okay, I'm heavy, but the thing is it's one of those lawn chairs, like with the plastic handles and the nylon webbing, that's probably been sitting outside for 20 years, and it was all sun bleached, and the plastic was all brittle. And when I fell backwards, I had the pieces of aluminum piping that the handle was riveted to sticking straight up and poking me in each kidney.
oh,
And then the other two were in my shoulder blades. And since I'm on an incline head down, I couldn't sit up, I couldn't roll over, I couldn't get up. I'm calling for help. My brother lives next to an apartment complex where nobody speaks English. So I just sat there, and I was waiting for cars are going by, and I'm trying to wave them down, and I'm stuck. And I've got these pieces of metal impaling my back. And then I saw this squirrel, and this squirrel was starting to rally the troops because they were going to gnaw my face off because I was just sitting there waiting for it. I finally got up, but my lower back since then, I've done something that impact, because I didn't fall backwards. I fell backwards and hit my butt first and then fell backwards. So I compressed that a little bit
oh,
more. So
Yeah, I
Donna's
don't
gonna
know if
get
this will show up on the screen because this is on my phone, but that's what I looked like. I call this one here my bow tie. Where's my finger at? There it is. Well, you see it. There's a bow
yeah,
tie looking
I see it.
vertebrae, but you'll
Yep.
notice there's no disc. Like at the top, you see there's a disc, and then
Mm-hmm.
the two below it, there's nothing. And the vertebrae is actually whitish where it's contacting, and the doctor said that
Hmm.
that's arthritis. That's caused when bone rubs against bone. Your body's natural uh, defense against that is it sends calcium there, and that's that was the source of my 9.5 years. But this is what I ended up with. That's probably too bright. You get now. You guys can't even see that.
Well,
Everything
and
looks
there's
white.
there we go.
Everything. Oh wait, if I tip it there, you can kind of see my metal.
Yeah.
That's my cage. I've got 4 rods and 8 screws. And it looks gross. It looks gnarly on an X-ray. It looks
Mm-hmm.
gnarly, but I can tell you, you watch a commercial and you see a commercial about some back surgery center, and you don't know if there's like words really in microscopic print saying this is an actor, saying these things, talking about they were cured the minute they woke up. Well, I swear to you, when I woke up in recovery, there was a nurse in the room with me. And when I woke up, she said, "Oh, Mr. Parsons, how you feeling?" And I said, "Oh my God, I'm cured." And she said, "No, no, 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 no. You just had a 5.5 hour surgery and you just woke up. You're still feeling the effects of the anesthesia." And I said, "No, I feel pain. I feel where you cut me. Different type of pain. The pain I've been dealing with for 9.5 years, the intense nerve pain that went down my legs and just made it hard to walk. It made it hard to sit down and stand up." I said, "That pain is gone, and it's a miracle." And true statement. True statement. I woke up in recovery and knew that I was cured, and it
You
was
were
just the most
changed.
amazing feeling being able to give kids piggyback rides.
Yeah, it's the little things like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Being able to give your kiddos piggyback rides. So I'm looking back here, and Chrissy, no, the squirrel did not help me. I think it was planning an all-you-can-eat buffet with its buddies. Um, Along the river, Q Kitchen and Beyond says to Chrissy at Along the River, "I'm a Hooters fan too, but for some reason my youth pastor would never let us go there to eat." Oh, I've only been there once. Had a nice lunch. Tried their deep fried pickles. I wasn't a fan. Maybe I need to try some somewhere
No,
else.
I love their deep fried pickles.
Maybe I just got a bad back or a bad batch.
I did eat the wings. I see somebody commented about the wings. I did eat them for years, but you know what? I finally said, I've been coming here so long, I have to work my way through the menu. And to be favorite menu item now is it's the chicken strip sandwich. It's a sandwich. It's got like chicken strips on it instead of like a chicken breast or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. But you can get it in the sauce flavor that you want, and I just love it. And for all of you kids at heart, grilled cheese. Who doesn't love a grilled cheese?
Mm.
Hooters has a very delicious grilled cheese. They use 3 different types of cheese. See, I'm a simple man. I do make grilled cheese. That's like the third thing, the third and only the third 3 things I know how to cook. And I just, we didn't have a lot of money growing up. We didn't have, delicious, tasty cheeses to choose from. We had the singles, the little Kraft singles, which is
Right.
that really cheese? I don't know. It doesn't
But
catch on
sometimes
me.
it's so good.
Yeah, but I only used one kind of cheese, and thankfully Hooters opened my eyes to that because you go there, there's like a slice of cheddar, then there's a white slice. I'm not food techie enough to know what. I know
Probably a
there's white
provolone.
American, but I don't know what other cheeses are like white. And then there's another not as sharp yellow as a cheddar, but it's another yellow. It's three cheeses on a grilled cheese. Oh, it's delicious. It's wonderful.
Hang on to your shorts, Brian. You ready?
Yeah.
This is my grilled cheese. Kojak, and then I slather on just a little bit of green onion cream cheese. Then I slap a piece of provolone on top of that, which is probably your white cheese you're
Okay.
talking about. Then I've got my 2 pieces of bread, and I don't use butter, I use mayonnaise, and then I put freshly shredded Parmesan cheese, and so I grill it so the cheese is cooked on the outside with the Parmesan cheese. And
Oh,
then I
see,
also add some sweet onion jam.
this is what I'm talking about. Like, um,
I'll do a video.
YouTube creators being so creative, and I like to think I'm creative, but I've never been creative on that. On that, I mean, I would never think to do a grilled cheese like that. But now that you've said it, I have to try this.
I'll do a
I have to
video
try
to
this.
try it. Do yours and serve it with beer battered onion rings.
Yes,
But I love it. And my brother-in-law came up from Texas. Chrissy earlier wanted to know where you're from. And Chrissy, he did say he was from Georgia.
I live just west of Atlanta, Georgia.
My brother came up from Texas, my brother-in-law, and I made him one of those grilled cheese. He says, "My God, I've never seen a grilled cheese like this."
Uh,
And so I love it. And to dip it in a basil tomato, like a creamy
oh
basil
yes,
tomato
grilled
soup,
cheese
grilled
with,
pickles on the side.
like I
I will
say,
make a video.
I'm a simple man, and we were raised on humble means. But a grilled cheese with tomato soup is like
Comfort food.
heaven.
Yes. Yes. We grew up exceptionally meager as well, to the point to where one day I came home from school and oh gosh, we had the most beautiful roast on the table, but it was roadkill. Yeah. Daddy field dressed a buck that had been hit down the road. Who knows how long it'd been there? And he'd never field dressed anything. So who knows if he got the scent sacks taken care of, but it didn't taste so good the next day.
Oh, so I'm looking here at it looks like Ormsby Farms. Are you in Georgia or are you from Georgia and you live somewhere else? Because he says he's a Georgia boy.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be nice if he was still here.
Just to answer Daz's question, no, Daz, I don't put herbs or herbs on my grilled cheese sandwich, but the cream cheese does have herbs in it with some chives if I'm lucky, if I find the right one. Tucker, Georgia.
Okay, Tucker, that's over on the east side of Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken. Like I said, I'm on the west side, but it's not too far.
Michael at Green Acres wants to know who puts noodles in their tomato soup. I've never put. I'll tell you the best thing though, besides having a really nice grilled cheese sandwich for your tomato soup, and I used to do this when I worked at a school. I would get the. I mean, it's not as good as homemade, but I would get the Campbell's tomato soup that was in the microwavable cup
Right.
or in the microwavable bowl, and then I would take a little pack of Cheez-Its. If you've never put Cheez-Its in your tomato soup, you're missing out.
I haven't tried the Cheez-Its, but what I love to put in mine is goldfish.
Yeah, so it would be
I
the
buy
same
the
flavor.
big bag of goldfish, and I'm a glutton. I'll pour that big old. Every bite has to have 10 goldfish in it.
You got to have goldfish in every bite. But no, Michael, tell us about these noodles. What kind of noodles do you put in there?
Are you
Gail
talking to
used to
me?
make, well, no, Michael from the Green Acres
Oh,
says that he
okay.
puts
Yeah, I've
noodles in
never
his
seen
tomato soup.
noodles in tomato soup.
Somebody loves the Cheez-Its in tomato soup
Look who it
because it's an
is.
all
Look, see, I told you he would come steal the show. He says, "You've been on there too long, Daddy, and
Oh, so
it's time for
sweet.
people to see my face."
Sweet kitty. Sweet, sweet kitty. I love orange kitties.
Yeah, he
Gail
was.
says she used to make hot buttered Cheerios or hot buttered tortillas. I was so poor I had to be invented. Oh, a nice, freshly heated on a skillet tortilla. So you get just a little bit of the brown and the black.
Oh yeah.
And then you put butter on it and you roll it up. It's so good. So good. And actually, since we're talking about tortillas, I'll share with you. When I was going through chemo, I had some herb butter. Wink, wink, if you get what I'm talking. Daz. I had some herb butter, but I couldn't just eat the butter by itself because it has a taste. So I made a tortilla one day and I put some of my herbed butter on the tortilla and then I sprinkled some cinnamon sugar on it just so I could get it down. And yeah, that it came back up. So it took me a long time before I could eat any of that again. Ooh, bow ties in your tomato soup. That's good. Sarah's family does that, and I always thought it was weird. I concur with Cheez-Its, goldfish, or even just saltines. I love the Cheez-It ones. I love Cheez-Its or the Goldfish. I love the cheesy flavor with it. Oh,
You want,
Chrissy says, "Psst, psst, 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 psst." That's her talking to the kitty.
you want to know what I missed out on as a kid because I thought it sounded gross, but as an adult, I absolutely love it in the wintertime? Split pea soup. It's got to have a big hunk of ham in it, though, to
It's
give
got
it
to
that
be just right.
full flavor.
You have
It
to be
just,
in the mood for something like that.
it doesn't look attractive. I mean, it's green and it's, it's split peas. So, I mean, there's like little pieces of round peas, but for most part, it's like smooth or something.
Mm-hmm.
But oh, it just tastes so good.
It's amazing how much sight plays into what we will allow ourselves to eat, and also the names of things. Okay, I didn't want to say it, says Michael, but that's why I didn't say herbs, LOL. I don't want it confused with something else. So herbs it is for me. My mom makes cookies with her herb butter, says Chrissy. Um, this herb butter was pretty potent, let me tell you. And we are in a zero tolerance state, so it took a lot for me to get that herb butter, but it was the only thing that really I shouldn't say it was the only thing that helped me through my treatment, but it did help me rest, and it did help me want to eat, because I would go 10 days without eating. And the pain was so intense from the chemotherapy. They only show you a portion of what it is on the movies, and it hits you a little harder in real life. And the deep bone pain was so bad for me that I ended up going through 3 different prescriptions before I was finally put on oxycodone for bone pain. And so I was doing oxycodone in my butter. Okay, Ormsby. Split pea soup, yeah, I'd have to be in a mood for it. There are just some things, but I was saying earlier about like sites and names. Like I would hear people talk about ghee, and I thought, ooh, I mean, who wants to eat something called ghee? That just sounds so awful. But all it is clarified butter. And if you were to go to a fancy restaurant and order a steak with clarified butter, you're going to pay big bucks because it's got the clarified butter, which is ghee. And so now I make my own, and I love it. I love cooking with it. It's great stuff. How am I feeling? You mean how am I feeling after my imbibement on Monday? I'm feeling good today. I slept in a little bit. The headache's gone, and I'll get a few things done around here today. I was just saying my back's hurting a little bit from my raspberry picking days, but I'm doing good, and I could complain, but nobody would listen. So what's going to happen? Yeah. Daz, who is a certified chef, he cooks with ghee a lot, and I love it, and I love to make my own. It should be legal, I know, but you can't get it here. Oh, it makes you sick, even the edibles. It didn't make me sick, but I ate it at a time that I was getting sick and couldn't keep anything down, and I ended up in the hospital anyways. So, hello, the Cow Emporium from Alberta, Canada. I'm normally working right now. Super excited to catch this live. Welcome, welcome. And your name is Annette. Welcome, Annette. So we've just been talking about different things. I noticed Brian's necklace, and we were talking a little bit about that. And I thank you for your service. I'm an Army mom. My son was in the Army, and it's funny because we're talking tattoos. Your mother begged you not to get a tattoo the day before my son was to report for Army. I don't know all the terms. You know what I'm talking about. The very first day. He had gone out the night before, and he'd gotten a tattoo across his back.
Oh.
And it said redneck. And he almost didn't get in. And this is before the movement that we've got going now.
Yeah.
I mean, this is back in the day of Jeff Foxworthy, and you might be a redneck if. And he just had redneck tattooed on his back, and he almost didn't get in because they said it was a racially thing. And he's like, no, he's like, I grew up, listening to Jeff Foxworthy. And he goes, he didn't think it was, but they let him in. But he was in the Army, and he broke his hip in basic.
Oh.
He was on one of their pack runs, and he was running with his pack, and they had to go up over a wall. And when he went up over the wall, he didn't land on his feet. He landed on his hip, and there was a rock. So he had the impact of the rock that hit him on the hip, but he got up and he kept going. And even though he was in pain, he kept going all through basic and graduated. And then when he got on the bus to go up to Maryland for, was it MOS? Is that what it's called? For his specialty training, whatever.
Yeah.
As soon as he got off the bus, his sergeant said, nope, nope. And they took him right to Walter Reed. And he was in Walter Reed for several weeks. And then once he was released from Walter Reed, he was just put on limited duty. And it really was disheartening for him because he couldn't go out on exercises. He had to go walk the perimeter of a field with the pregnant soldiers, and so once he finally got done with that, he was going to be 101st Airborne, and they took that from him. And then he was a tank mechanic, and he was jumping down off the tanks, and his ankles were fractured, and he just was falling apart. And so he's out on a medical. Everyone's body's different. It's true.
Yeah, my job in the Marines, I was a power plant mechanic, which is jet engines. So I did my job so hopefully people wouldn't have to jump out of airplanes. But obviously, 101st Airborne, that's what they get paid to do, is jump out of airplanes.
Right. Just before he was let out, though, they had him up in the helicopters with the 50 cal. And he was training for that, and they were going to go to Iraq, which broke my heart. And I asked him if he thought he could handle that. And he said, well, if it comes down to a situation of me or them, I have to do what I have to do.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful. I know it sounds wrong and selfish, but I'm so thankful that he was actually medically discharged before he had to go over, because as a mom, I don't know if I could have handled it.
Yeah, it's a different thing. And me, I'm the only boy. I have 3 sisters. So when I joined the Marines, that was kind of like a gut punch, I'm sure, to my parents, but it's what I felt I needed to do.
Mm-hmm. And that's all he wanted to do, was he wanted military. And he struggles a lot because a lot of the guys that he was with didn't come back from Iraq. So he's got a lot of survivor guilt. And but now he's doing really well now, but some of it comes back to him. But I'm thankful as a mom that I didn't have to have that stress, because I stress. I can't help it. But he's doing good now. I was going to I'll save it for another video. I'll tell you about my son's titanium.
That makes me and him titanium brothers, which kind of makes you
That's
my mom, I guess. Huh?
He has a Terminator hand.
Okay.
He has a claw, and here's my camera. He's got 3 steel plates and 18 titanium screws.
Oh, wow.
So, but he still has his hand.
That's a
they
good
were going to amputate it. So they got that. So, but on to happier things.
Yeah.
On to happier things. So let's see. I've put the link up to see if we can get anybody else to come up and talk. But you know what I'm saying?
I mean, like I said, I didn't want to do all this screen time hogging. I mean, I'll gladly step off and because one thing I've noticed is that the links for the pages, for some reason, while I'm on the camera with you, it's not a link for me. I see it, but I can't click on it. It won't, because obviously it'll take me out of this and go to their page. So it won't let me do it. So now but that's okay. Because I promise when I get off of this live, I am going to go back through the chat and I'm going to subscribe to everybody whose link is posted, because, hey, we're all just trying to,
right. And it's
trying to do our thing, and I'm trying to do my thing by helping you guys out and giving you my subscription.
Expanding the community. And you're certainly not hogging screen time. That's why I put it up there. And I see in the chat so many people saying, wow, a new person,
Well, I was wondering, because I saw the, StreamYard is what I use, and I've hosted chats. I've been on chats, and I saw the link, and I thought maybe I misread because nobody was hopping on. And I'm like, well, if I was hosting and I was posting the link, I would want somebody to hop on. So I hopped on. Yeah. Thinking it was going to be for a second, but like I say, I love talking. I'm so happy that I found this new genre. Yeah. Is that the right word?
Sure.
My name's Brian the Beer Snob. I'm not a classy guy. I don't speak big words. I talk to the common man. That's all I do. It's just a funny name I came up with,
Well, it's just like at the end of my name, it says Hobby Farm Living, because so many people are just downright homesteaders or farmers. And here I'm just on this little farm. And in our community, people make fun of us, people that we've never met before. I shouldn't say make fun. But there will be people that we haven't met before, and we'll meet them in town. They're like, "Where are you at?" And we'll say, "Well, we're over at the corner of this and that, and we're that farm." And they go, "Oh, I know that farm." You're the people that sit outside in those funny big wicker princess chairs and drink iced tea and watch your donkeys.
Now, where are you at again?
I'm in Iowa.
Iowa. Okay, well, yeah, I was born, and I know there was talk about Nebraska earlier in the chat. I was born in Nebraska, and we moved to Florida between second and third grade. So I don't know what that is. That's like maybe 8 years old, something like that. And Florida was great, but when I graduated high school, I kind of had a little resentment of why I was taken away from my friends that I had, to go to some new place, even though Florida was great. And that's the place that I claim as home now. I still have family in Nebraska, and that's why I went there this summer. And it's just when I go back there, it's like my cousins live in a small town. I mean, honestly, if you want a fast food experience, it's not in their town. You have to go 15 miles up the road to the big city, which is not a big city, just to get a McDonald's or, a Wendy's or something like that. And, where I live in Powder Springs, Georgia. It's on the west side of Atlanta. And, population wise, I don't know, I guess it's maybe 25,000, which isn't a whole lot. But the thing is, where I live is towns butt up against towns. There, you don't noticeably leave one town and drive for any length of time before you noticeably arrive in another town. You only know that you've changed towns because you happen to see the sign on the side of the road that says you're now into a different town. Kind of all the towns kind of in the metro Atlanta area, they all touch each other kind of.
Right.
So, I mean, if I want Chinese food, I've got 5 within 3 miles of my house that I can choose from. If I want Mexican food, there's 15 within a short. So it's choices. It's all about choices. And funny thing that I say on my channel all the time is I'm a man and I don't need a lot of choices. Like when I grew up, let's talk Doritos. There was 3 flavors. You had nacho, taco, and what was the other one? Maybe there was only 2, because I was in high school when Cool Ranch Doritos came out, and that was like the most amazing thing ever.
Bye, Gail.
But now you go to the store and you want to get Doritos, like my wife says, "Hey, pick me up a bag of Doritos." That's the wrong thing to say to me, because you have to be. I tell her, you got to dumb everything down as low and as dumb and basic as you can get, because if there's a room for me to make a choice, I'm going to make the wrong one. She says, "Bring me Doritos. You know the ones I like." And I go stand in the store, and literally I'm looking like this.
Yeah.
For 3 hours, because there's 200 flavors of Doritos now. And I'm like, oh, which one's her favorite now? I think it's this one. So I grab it and I come home, and you know what I get? "Oh, why'd you buy me that flavor? I don't like that flavor." And I'm like, well, why didn't you be specific and tell me what you wanted? Because it's a Dorito. I mean,
you got to be specific. I remember the Cool Ranch when they came out. They were so good. And now they've got like a smoky one and the Inferno one. They've got all these ones. I do love them. So many flavors of Doritos. Right now, there's a bigger selection of Doritos at our largest market that I can get to in this area than there is a selection of canned vegetables.
Really?
And that's no joke. The canned vegetables used to be a half an aisle long, and now it's down to like an 8-foot section for all canned vegetables. It's very strange.
Well, you probably have. Do you have, living in a farm area? Do you have like sellers who sell their crops? Like you get the fresh beans and the fresh corn and all this other stuff.
Right. We have a good farmer's market. I do have a little garden, and it's at the end of its season. If I see another cucumber, I'm going to possibly kill somebody, because the cucumbers were so prolific this year. There's so many cucumbers. But we do have the farmer's market. But you were saying that the one little town was, 25,000. My entire county, the entire county is 10,000 people.
Oh.
And so the county seat, we live outside of the county seat, and I think that town has 4,000 people.
Oh, wow.
And there is a McDonald's, and there's a not a Carl's Jr., a Hardee's. There's a Hardee's. But when we first moved here and my husband went to go to the town to the south of us where his job was going to be. And it is a pretty large town for what, relatively speaking. I said, we'll go down there, we'll get some lunch. And we're driving. It's like there's McDonald's and a Dairy Queen, and that's it. That's it.
So at least there's choices.
At least
It
there's
might only be two, but you have choices.
However, it's important to note I'm a vegetarian. So there aren't choices really. So I have, but now they've got a new Mexican restaurant, so I'll go there. But yeah, it's difficult. I at Jim's Kitchen, when he had his 300 giveaway, he sent me 2 Starbucks cards, and I used to have Starbucks every day when we lived in California. It was an obsession. It was a habit. I would have Starbucks every day. For me to have Starbucks now, oh, Laura's going to come on from Hedgehog. Hello, Laura. I'm going to add you.
Hello. Hello.
I was just sharing that if I wanted to go to Starbucks, it's about an 80-mile round trip now for me to get a Starbucks.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
So I haven't. Are you rocking?
Yeah. Sorry, I'll stop.
Thank you. I'm
I
like this. The vertigo.
Well, I saw the water in the waves. I thought she was on a boat, and I was like,
right?
I was gonna have flashbacks.
That's why I was like, oh my God, stop. And I'm not even drunk. Rambling is letting the feed roll as he moderates for another channel. I'm glad you're still here, Scott. So what have you been up to, Laura? Laura, Brian, Laura.
Hi, Laura.
She froze.
Let me switch around. There we go. I just got done cleaning the house because in 11 o'clock, I've got people coming to view the house. We got 2 views today. We just opened up last night.
So if I recall, you're in Washington State.
Oregon.
I knew it was on the Pacific Coast, wrong state. And you're moving, you got property where?
Tennessee.
In Tennessee. So Laura, you need to mute your YouTube because we're getting feedback.
Okay, hold on.
Hi, Raquel. She's saying hi and she's leaving soon.
Hi, Raquel.
Rolling with Raquel, who is up in Canada. And she's going to be getting some seeds from me because I cleared it with the post office that I could send her some seeds from my farm. Who's on your shirt, Heather? Does it say Meet Dick?
Well, I'm old enough to know who that's referring to.
Her shirt? I can't see the whole shirt. I just see it says Meet Dick. I can't see him. And now I can't hear her.
That's not the same thing. When I was a kid, when you were in elementary school, Dick and Jane, were
there we go.
These 2 characters, Dick, Jane, and Spot. That's how we learned stuff was,
Is that what it is, Heather? Is it a...
Maybe that was just my school.
Dick is a Cougar what?
Fan.
Dick is a Cougar fan. Oh, a Cougars fan.
Yeah. And then, which is Washington.
Okay.
And then, my husband went to Washington University. So oh man, my camera is like really weird. There we go. It's hard. I have to hold the thing sideways, not straight on me. It's weird.
Huh.
Anyways.
So you've been cleaning your house because you got a couple showings because you're trying to sell your place so you can move to raw acreage in Tennessee, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Raw land. They'll be starting from scratch.
Yep. So
it's exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's exciting. So we're looking forward to selling this place because we're in the Portland metro area. So if you've I'm sure heard of Portland on the news.
Yeah.
So we want to leave.
It's not everybody's cup of tea. Time to leave.
No. And I'm a foster parent, and so there's a lot of the politics I don't agree with, but as a foster parent, you kind of have to kowtow to a lot of stuff, and I'm just done.
Now, as a foster parent, how difficult is it going to be to cross state lines and continue?
I won't be able to bring my foster child with me.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's too bad. That's too bad. but I respect and give you kudos for that line of work. Takes a
Yeah.
special person for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, and I've had them forever, so it's not going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
But the rules that is coming down the pike from DHS here, from Kate Brown, um, I just don't agree with, and don't, so I'm standing my ground.
Right. I hear you. We're starting to stand our ground on a few things here. I think my husband has plans for something that he's trying to shield me from, but I feel it in the air that
Yeah,
changes are coming for
yeah,
us. And matter of fact, we were just talking to our sons. Well, I was talking to one son, and he's been talking to another son. Um, I think the plan in this near future, maybe 1 or 2 years, is we are going to have the boys come live on the farm here and have a little. I don't want to call it a compound, but
mm-hmm,
I think we're going to add some housing here on the farm, and I'll have two of our four boys with their families here on the farm,
yeah,
and that way we can support each other and take care of each other. And I think they're thinking long term that after a while we're not going to be able to be comfortable in this 2-story farm house, which
yeah,
the stairs are already difficult for me. We're mostly main floor living now. So, but we're thinking about getting one of those metal mort buildings, the Morton buildings. Have you seen those where they convert them? It looks like a barn, or it looks like a metal shed on the outside, but then when you go
like a
inside,
barn.
it's a house, like a barn dominium.
That's what we're
Um,
thinking.
yeah, we're considering that with either combustible or compostable toilet system, so we don't have to put in another septic system.
Yeah,
And I'd be quite happy with that. I don't need 1,600 square feet, so we're just thinking about downsizing and letting my son and his family take over the farmhouse, and then
yeah,
putting another thing out there for the other kid with his family, and we'll all just be right here so we can take care of each other.
How
yeah.
much
So, but
land do you have?
we have just under 5 acres.
Five
It's
acres. Well,
that's
that's
why it's a
good. So
hobby
even if
farm.
they build houses, it's not like you'd be like right on top of each other.
Oh no, my nearest neighbor's a mile away, and
Okay.
that's my son. He's actually living on my sister's farm a mile away. So we'll have, yeah, it's the country mama cult.
Yeah, my stepson is probably going to move over there with us and put a little cabin on the property too.
Hmm. Isn't
And
it
so,
weird? I just think that that's the stage that we're all kind of getting to.
yeah,
We've been talking about it for years. My
and
youngest son, he's always been talking about. We've got a little shack. It's where the trailers used to be kept, not the trailers, the tractors. It's a little tractor shed.
yeah,
And ever since we got this place, the kids call it the Moonshine Shack. So he's always talked about putting a little trailer or something back there in the Moonshine
right,
Shack. That's when he was single. Now he's married and has 2 kids. And I don't think she's going to settle for just having a little trailer back there at the Moonshine Shack.
yeah, yeah,
We'll have to get her something a little more comfortable. But
right,
my other two boys are in California, and I've got one son saying if things get really bad, we're just going to sell the house and up and move and come out there to the farm.
right.
And come on, there's
Well,
enough room for everybody. We'll make it work somehow.
my daughter and son are in LA, and we'll see how that goes. But she's an actor and believes all. We have totally different political views,
Hmm.
and I love her to death. She's an amazing young lady and talented girl, but we just believe differently, and so we still are, communicate well and and stuff like that. We just agree not to talk about certain things, but they're
Right.
always welcome. My brother-in-law um, is probably gonna buy some acreage from us up there too, and so like 10 acres from us because we're on 160 up there.
Wow.
So yeah, so we have plenty of room for people to find their own corner.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah, 5 acres is going to be tough for everybody to have their own little corner, but I think it'll be okay. I'd love to be able to see my grandkids every day, um, and then they'll be able to help more with the farm because it's hard enough for me to keep up with it as it is now.
right,
Hubby works all day Monday through Friday, and I take care of the yard, but I've got some places where it's just really overgrown and it's sad. But It would be nice to have the boys here.
My husband's talking to me through the camera. I'm on a live. The house is clean. Don't worry.
I've got Dad saying that everybody that moves onto my farm is going to have purple hair and know how to grow lots and lots of cucumbers.
Yes.
I wish I could get purple hair, but I'd just be happy with having hair.
Hair. I've been balder than you.
Well, I'm a hippie right now. I need a haircut. It's touching my ears. I mean,
Oh no.
Look at that. Ooh.
I used to tell people when people will say things about my hair, it's like, yeah, my oncologist used to do my hair, and now I do it for myself. So, but I was bald for a while, and I went through all of my treatment with no hair, no eyelashes, but I kept my eyebrows for some reason. And then just when the hair started growing back, like a dandelion, one day my eyebrows just went fell out of my face. And then when they grew back, who remembers Abe Vigoda?
Oh yeah,
Fish. And remember when he played in Look Who's Talking, and he had those really wiry, just out of control eyebrows? That's how my eyebrows grew back. My eyebrows did not grow back sideways. My eyebrows grew up this way, and they were all weird. It's like, why? Why? If I'm going to grow weird hair after chemo, I wanted really nice curly hair. I didn't get the curl. I got gray hair. I left with blonde and I came back with gray, but no curl. So now I color it fun colors just because why not? I mean, what's the worst that could happen? I've been bald.
Yeah. The body's weird. I mean, this part of my beard is dark. This part is gray. And this side
part
is
of my beard is dark.
This side is like all gray, and I got this side's dark. It's like somebody's like, why do you dye only half of your mustache? And I'm like, well, I don't. I need to dye this half though, so it matches the other half. I don't know why it grows.
So not only did my eyebrows grow, but I got this really weird patch that grows right here. It's like out of the blue. It's like my body doesn't know what it's doing. Hi, Britton Farms. Today is a good day to have a good day. It's so very true. We've been having lots of fun. We've just been chit-chatting about everything, anything and everything. And we've got Brian and we've got Laura on. And Alicia, according to Michael, still would love for you to share some photos of your pageant days sometime. I need to learn, Michael. I need to learn how to bring pictures up or bring other videos up. I haven't done that yet with StreamYard. Let me see if I can find something super quick.
Yeah, I've been on some lives where that somehow they can put the screen they're looking at on the screen for everybody to see. And I don't know how they do that either. I'm like a techno.
I'm a techno.
I'm a techno. I don't know how to do anything. I have to have my kids. I hand them my phone. I say, how do I pull up my emails? And they're like,
yeah.
Like you're 8. How do you know how to do that?
When I first started this YouTube channel, I had to have my grandson come over and help me. I didn't know what I was doing. But, I'm not going to waste time looking now. But Michael, I will put up some, I'll find some pictures and share some pictures from my pageant days. I had fun. The people I met, insane. Lots of fun. Lots of memories. And I held a local and a national title. And I used to be a judge for Hawaiian tropic pageants. I used to be a judge for the preliminaries for Miss California USA. And so I had a lot of fun. And the people I met were just amazing. Just amazing.
Oh.
Let me see who it is.
I told them never to call me at this hour.
One of my kids, I was going to answer it and say you're live on the air, but I'm not going to do that to them. Right. I hope when I set it down, I didn't accidentally answer it. Easy.
I forgot I had that. It's warm now, but I wasn't raised to waste food or drink. So
what are you drinking that's warm? Is it a warm beer?
Yeah. I shot a video right before I got on here, and this was left over. I forgot about it. I just looked over and I said, oh.
So Laura, what are your plans? What's your time frame, do you think? Are you guys going to have a long enough mortgage where you're going to be able to pack everything up and get it out?
Yeah, I think so.
Because you going to sell all your stuff or take it?
we're going to sell a bunch of stuff. And we're going to take, I mean, we got all our homesteading stuff, you know, that we need to take for, you know, we won't bring our animals here because I don't think they'd make it.
Yeah,
We'll
that
bring
would
our,
be a tough journey.
yeah, but we'll bring all our animal stuff. And just because, and we have, you know, fencing and stuff. And just, you know, a lot. So, yeah, I mean, we'll bring half of it, I should say. You know, all our kitchen stuff, you know, I do all, you know, all my canning stuff, all my bread making
Mhm.
stuff, all that stuff. I'll be bringing. So,
I told my friend who just recently moved to Tennessee, I said, sell everything that you can and you'll be able to pick it up when you get there. There's always estate sales or auctions or
right.
something. We came out with just a Penske truck, and that was mostly for my husband's tools and, you know, maybe a bed, but a lot of
Yeah,
stuff we left behind. And we picked up a lot of stuff at auctions since we've been here.
right.
Q
We just,
Kitchen says they Q Kitchen says they can't edit stuff. I didn't know anything about editing when I started, and my son put the Vegas Pro 16 or something on my laptop, and I've learned a lot.
yeah,
Yeah, you get thrown into the deep end, and that's how you learn.
Oh yeah.
I like when I first started, I had to pay because I was a fool. I didn't know what I was doing. I shot on a green screen. So I had to go to Fiverr, that website, and hire a guy in Pakistan and pay him $35 to edit my green screen video. And
Oh no.
I said, I can't afford to pay $35 every time I do a video, so this isn't going to work. So I
Yeah.
had my wife do it, and she did 3 videos for me. She said, this is too much work. You need to learn how to do it yourself. I'm done. So I had to start. So my early videos, the editing is really, really
Oh,
bad.
same.
It's really, really bad. But that's okay because I like to see every once in a while I'll go pull up one of my early videos just to see how bad it was so I can see how far I've come from that.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So
Hi, Chris. Chris is here from E3 Homestead.
Hey, so
He's back on the
I'm
job
gonna
today.
learn you I'm gonna learn you something today.
Okay, learn us something there, Chris.
So when you're looking at your StreamYard, right? When you're looking down at the bottom, under where you can change the different screens,
Mm-hmm.
you look down at the bottom, you'll see a share
Yes.
button. So if you click on that share button,
Mm-hmm.
then it'll give you 3 tabs to choose from. A Google tab, and then 2 others.
I clicked on it and it says video file or share screen.
Share screen.
Oh, and there's the 3 things. Share a
There's the-
screen is easiest with 2 monitors. Sharing screen
Yep.
works best on a computer. Oh, so is that what you click then when you want to put another kind of like what Tim does over at Ridge Life?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you'll click that, it'll bring up another section,
Oh,
and there should be like 3 tabs. Google.
I'm trying without doing something I shouldn't be doing. Share screen.
Mhm.
Share screen. Choose what to share, an entire screen, a window, or a SlimJet tab.
Yeah. So because you're using SlimJet as your browser, that would, like, we use Google Chrome, so it would say Google Chrome in that spot.
Okay.
So
I didn't know I was
wherever,
using SlimJet.
so wherever your file is that you want to share, then that's where it'll pop up, and you'll click that, and it will share on your screen. It'll share.
So for
It'll
instance,
shift
like
it
if
over.
I opened a tab in YouTube right now and went to your channel,
Mm-hmm.
would I then copy
You would.
your? No.
Nope. You would actually, you would share screen just like you just did, and if you had it in your Google tab or your SlimJet tab, then you would click on that tab. You would click on that tab from your share screen. Click on it'll have a list of everything that's open, and you can
Okay.
click on what you'd like, what's open that you want to share, and share screen, and it'll shift you over and put that up.
Okay. I'm gonna have to work on that.
Well, at least you can watch this back.
Yeah, I appreciate the information because I didn't know how to do that either. I'd seen it done, but I never, like I say, I'm so anti-techie that I
You
I
explained it.
figured
I
that
had no
out
clue. When
in
I
our
shared this
live
net
on
with,
Monday.
Oh, you figured it out then? Oh, for
Yeah.
your spinny wheel.
For our spinning wheel. Yeah.
I'll work on that because I want to do that for shout outs. I want to bring up the page so I can show people. Like earlier, we were talking about Jim's Kitchen. It would have been nice to actually pull up Jim's Kitchen to show everybody what his page looks like. Daz was nice enough to drop the link so everybody can go over and check out Jim's Kitchen.
Right.
But I want to learn there's so much more to learn. There's so much to learn.
And
But thank you.
can
I'll try
only
that.
do it that way from a laptop or a PC, a desktop or a laptop. You can't do that from your phone.
Yeah, I only do my lives on the laptop, so that'll help.
well, I know because I've been on them before. Like you can be like this is being broadcast out. People are watching it, but I know that you can. The people that are on the screen, it's like after you shut down the live, if those people stay on, it's like a private.
Like a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
He froze like this.
Yeah, like a Zoom to
There you go.
practice sharing these. Because I say I'm glad that you popped on there, sir. I didn't catch your name, but that really helped me. So now I'm going to be practicing. I'm going to get some people and do a little private little thing, and I'm going to practice this. That way, I'm not learning in front of a live audience.
Chris.
Yeah. I'll be right back.
Chris, Brian, Chris.
Well,
Chris
nice
is
to meet
at
you,
work.
sir.
Chris is at work. He works at the VA.
Yesterday was my Friday, so today is my Saturday. So
today is just another day here on the farm for me. I have an exciting thing I'm going to be doing tomorrow. I almost didn't think I was going to tell you guys about it, but I think I'll put a little blurb out there because I will be filming tomorrow where I'm going, and I've already discussed with one of the staff where I'm going. I'm going to hopefully be able to get an interview in and get some really great footage. But what I will share, I'll give you the little tidbit. I live on the migratory path for the monarch butterflies.
Oh, nice.
So I will be going tomorrow to a nature preserve to learn all about, and I've done this before, but I've never recorded it. I did it before we had our channel. And I will be tagging a monarch, and they'll track for its migration down to Mexico.
Oh, that's
that
interesting because when I think of a monarch, I mean we're talking butterflies and it's very lightweight. So how like big is this tag and where do you put it?
The sticker, it's a sticker, and I was talking to my husband last night about it. He says, "Can't they just give it like a leg band or something?" And he's such a jokester.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, no, it's a sticker, and it's about the size of what you would do a hole punch, the little tab that you would get from that. And it's a sticker, and you put it on the underneath side of their wing, not where the powder is, but on the underneath side. And the wing pattern, there's a place that looks like a little mitten, and you put it where the little mitten is, because that is where they've determined where the counterbalance is, where you can still fly without suffering from that added weight. And so they track. And it's a really neat thing. I did it a couple of years ago. It got really dark here. A big cloud just went over. So I'm going to get to meet with one of the staff at the center, interview them, and share a little bit about the migratory and tagging the butterflies. I'm so excited to do that.
Well, I hope you learn how to share the screen because I'd be interested to know how far does a butterfly fly when it's migrating? I mean, I'm probably for sure it's gonna. I would think it wouldn't be far, but in reality, it's probably thousands of miles. They're probably going to fly to Mexico or something. I mean,
it is. They fly into the mountains of Mexico, and they will lay their eggs there, and then their offspring will fly back up towards Canada.
That is just so crazy because, when butterflies fly, I mean, it's like You know, it's not like a
Oh,
bird where they're flapping their wings and their head stays kind of solid. I mean, butterflies, you watch them fly around the yard, they're like
They
fluttering
flit.
all over the place.
They flit. So it'll be
They
really
flit.
interesting. And I learned something new. And Green Acres is really looking forward to that because he and I have been chatting a little bit about it. And so it's tomorrow. And I'm sad because Papa Jim can't go with me because he'll be at work. I was really hoping both of us were going to be doing that. And Britton Farm says you never really know how much stuff you have until you start moving and you have to put your hands on every item to pack or move. That is so true.
I know.
I learned something new this week when I was out walking in the front yard. There was something hovering, and it was too small to be a hummingbird, but it hovered and went backwards and forwards. And I thought, oh, maybe it's a hummingbird moth, but it wasn't. It was a grasshopper. Did you know when you walk up on a grasshopper and they fly and take off?
Yeah.
Did you know they can hover and go backwards and forwards like a hummingbird?
No, I didn't know that.
I knew
wish
they
I
could
would have had my
fly,
camera
but I
with
just
me.
thought it was like an extended jump, like they'd jump and flap their
Yeah.
wings, but they wouldn't sustain flight. I didn't know they could do that.
This one did. This one did. I
Nice.
really thought it was a hummingbird moth, but then it landed and it was a grasshopper. Now I don't know if there's the difference between a grasshopper and a locust, or I don't know what I've got out here, but we've got lots of grasshoppers this year. And it was really neat to see it hover. I never knew that.
Depends on what part of the world you're in, on whether it's called a grasshopper or a
I gotta
locust.
go, guys.
Bye, Laura.
Bye.
She's got to show her house. Everybody cross your fingers. She gets a good sale.
Well, thank you, Homestead Love.
Let me remove her. There we go. Now we've got a side by side going. So brain freeze. My brain just, Chris.
Yes.
So how much fun did you have with all those bugs out there the other day with your live? You're not going to do that again, huh?
No, we will be inside from now on.
You can see the bugs streaking across your screen.
Those weren't the ones that were the worst. We learned last night that we have chiggers.
Oh,
no.
We have never had chiggers on that place at all, and
Oh,
we
and they're
realize that
so
we have
painful.
chiggers now. Yeah.
well, here's a little Marine Corps
All right, just a
information
second.
for you guys. When we would go out in the field, one of the things that we would take with us, well, the women probably are familiar with this. You remember legs? It was a plastic egg that had pantyhose in them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we would take pantyhose out in the field because if you wore the pantyhose underneath your uniform, it kept all those creepy crawlies from getting on you.
Wow.
True story.
Interesting. But wasn't that hot though? They're so sweaty.
Well,
you pick your
we
lesser
weren't always
evils.
out in the hot, and I think this goes back to food. I mean, I love garlic. I love eating garlic. Like when I make spaghetti, when I'm boiling the noodles, I will put minced garlic in the water. I'm going to talk like I know what I'm talking about with cooking, but these are just fancy words I've heard other cooks use. But I'm going to infuse the garlic into the noodles while they're boiling. And when I eat it, I just love the garlic flavor. But I think garlic, is one of those, I don't know what it is, if it's a vegetable or an herb or whatever it is, but garlic comes out of your pores.
I know, Daz will have a fit.
A lot of the bugs don't like it. But
now,
I do.
What's funny, Brian, is you're going to say, I'm going to share something with you from my military days, and Chris leaves. Then Chris comes back and you're talking about infusing garlic into your noodles.
Yeah, that's not my Marine knowledge I was imparting. No, I was telling her that when we would go out in the field. Now, I was most of the time I was in North Carolina, so when we would go out there, I mean, guys would get chiggers, ticks, the usual joys that you get from being out in the wilderness. But we used to wear pantyhose underneath our camouflage, because the pantyhose would keep the chiggers and the ticks away from at least your lower half of your body. Yeah. So because nobody wants to have chiggers in the in the lower regions.
So Chris, next live you can do it outside. Just wear pantyhose.
Right.
That's the moral of the story.
I don't know that they would look good with my shorts, but you know.
Hey, it'll give you a
Hey.
tan. Even in the wintertime, you'll be tan, you know.
Well, I stay pretty dark anyway, so
Daz says to chop your herbs with your knives. Daz has a thing about
Well-
herbs and herbs. So I
I
want to know,
remember
since
Peaches and Herbs, but that was like a
Peaches-
group back in the 80s.
did you know that peach is an herb or herb? Do you know? I always thought it was a couple, peaches and herb. Do you know there were several
it was-
peaches?
Really?
Herb
I did
always
not know
stayed the
that.
same. Herb always stayed the same, but he had several peaches that just
Huh.
would take each other's place throughout the years as they had their songs. I never knew that.
Hmm.
So let's ask Daz. Daz, what is garlic? It's not an herb. It's or a spice. What maybe it is an herb. What is it technically called in the garden world? Gosh, my back.
I know it's referred to as a stinky rose. I mean, is it a flower?
Oh, there was a
Hmm.
no, it's a I know what it is because it's in the same family as onions. And I can't think of what they're called,
Would
but
it
they
be
get
a
shapes.
fruit?
It's not a
Or
root.
not a fruit, but a vegetable?
No. Okay, so Daz, onions, garlic, what family are they from in the gardening world? The Ilium family, Ilium family, the something
Allium.
family. I don't know how to pronounce it. Hello, Homestead Love. And you know what? My son is here. So I think he's loving on the dogs. He's out there like this. Hello, dogs. Is it the allium family? Is that how you spell it? Almost like aluminum allium? See, I knew it had its own little family. Yes, honey.
Is it spelled with an A or an I?
A. I'm on live, honey. Come say hi to everybody. Yeah. This is my boy. Where's my boy? There he is. Oh, he's the Terminator. He'll be back. Hey, Daz, look. Look. How long is this growth?
A year.
A year.
I've trimmed it.
Daz, he's trimmed it, but he's gonna try to catch up to you. Look at that growth. Look at that, Daz.
Who's Daz?
Daz is not on screen, but
Oh.
he's got like Daz has like a
His waist long beard.
it's like, who's the group? I can't think of the group.
ZZ Top.
ZZ
ZZ
Top.
ZZ
Top.
Top.
He has a ZZ Top beard. My boy's Justin, our youngest boy, does he can grow a beard like in a month that's long. So, well, my boy's here, so he must have something important to talk about.
Saying hi, saying how my face has gone down and swelling. So.
He had a molar pulled yesterday and they broke his jaw. So he fractured it in a couple places. So I'm going to go spend some time with him because I love all you guys, but family's got to take priority. So I'm
That's
going to
right.
say goodbye to everybody. Thank you so much for joining in. And we will see everybody next Wednesday for our coffee chat. Thank you, Brian. Thank you
for
Chris.
having me.
Everybody check out Brian, the beer snob. Give him some love. Watch one of the videos and leave a comment on it. And Chrissy, it's nice to see you. Homestead Love. Everybody, thank you so much for joining me, and we will talk to you next week. Bye, guys.
Alrighty.
Bye-bye.
Bye.